and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 16th of December 2012. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
3 weeks again.
And 3 weeks again, Robert Kemp.
So, everybody, have you seen my cast?
No.
Literally no.
Exactly. It's been 3 weeks.
Where the hell's it been? God damn it.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant because it's audio. Unless you've seen this on YouTube, in which case you've seen a static image
Yeah.
over the back of an audio file. Because that is now obviously what YouTube is for.
What can be found on YouTube?
Bits of the cast.
The hell is that?
Someone's mobile phone is still going nuts.
Probably.
It can't be my one. No one ever phones my phone. Rob is dramatically moving it closer and further away from the speakers to see if it is.
I'm just going to put this over here.
Okay.
Okay, show it on the shelf. So yes, 3 weeks, we should have plenty to talk about, but should we talk about the news?
News!
I'm jumping straight in here, I don't think we've got much random. I think we've used up all our random.
We've probably got quite a lot of random,
Okay.
but forcing it never worked.
I had plumbers digging up my garden last week.
You did.
Why for?
Because
Because modern houses have shit plumbing all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
Literally shit plumbing.
Well, plumbing for shit.
That's what plumbing's for.
No, it's pretty
Oh,
terrible.
it's not my phone.
What is it? Whose phone is near the... You know what? I don't know what's near that. Near
It can't be Dan's phone, that's all the way over here.
Yeah.
Rob's waving his phone near the thing now. We'll take it out of his pocket.
You know what? I got no idea.
Well, I'm sure that won't actually pick up on the microphone.
Yeah.
We're probably good. It's just distracting.
Yeah. So anyway, my shit plumbing.
Yeah.
Plumbing for shits. Yeah, apparently mine... Well, we always had problems at my old house, which is on the same estate.
It's basically the same design of house, basically.
Yeah, where it was...
It's all one build.
The drains would often block, and we had a giant metal pole that we'd use to unblock it.
Yeah, you basically couldn't use the downstairs toilet because it just didn't drain.
Well, no, it's like when it blocked, all of the plumbing went bad. You remember? Because the upstairs bathroom used to start gurgling.
Well, yeah, but it got progressively worse because once it had blocked, it started gradually blocking further up that pipe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Because of shitty house design, because they don't slope the pipes enough, basically.
Well, I don't know if that was the case at 64, whether it just they built it bad or it sank. If you know what I mean. That's what they're claiming, anyway. A lot of the plumbing on the estate, something to do with the ground or whatever they did to...
Something to do with bad buildings.
Something to do with the surveying they should have done before they built on the ground.
Exactly, yeah. That bits of pipe have sagged, therefore creating a divot or dip in the pipework, meaning there's no slope past a certain point. So everything gets stuck. And your toilets overflow.
That's great to know.
Yeah, so they have went round like most of the houses on my row and my old place and a few other places.
Oh, they did actually do the old place.
Yeah, they did. And they came round and sort of raised up the pipework again and gave it a slope. So it only took them, 5 or 6 years to actually come round and sort the other place? And then they preemptively did our row, as I say, ours, next doors. Apparently they had to dig up the floor of some of the houses, across the way.
Across the way?
So yeah, friggin' terrible house design and bad buildmanship. Is that a word? Buildmanship?
Buildmanship. I don't think so. It sounds cool.
Buildmanship.
Workmanship.
Yeah, so we've got a massive sort of dirty trench in our garden, or at least
Filthy, dirty trench.
Yeah, there's a bit of an absence of lawn now in a weird way.
Well, it's because you can't grow it again until it gets to the spring.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was fun.
My car was shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been shit for quite a while because it's old and skaggy.
I guess that was part of the reason for why we didn't do one last weekend.
Part of the reason. It's not like we shouldn't have done an online one, technically, but any excuse, really, for us to be lazy.
Plus, we've been having some serious troubles with getting videos done. Like our new venture into Videoland isn't going that well.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But also, back to my car.
Yeah, what's wrong with your car?
It's a piece of shit. What's wrong with my car?
It's just like an official mechanic report that you just turn over your MOT or whatever, and it's just written, it's a piece of shit.
My main problem, one of the things that really annoys me is that, like, it went through an MOT before one of the times it broke down. Well, no, it didn't break down. It went through MOT shortly before the exhaust fell off. It's like, how does it pass MOT and you don't notice the exhaust is about to fall off?
Yeah, that's... When did you get it MOT?
Someplace in...
Oh yeah, I suppose this isn't really relevant to anyone.
Someplace in Needham.
Oh, it's not by a guy named John, by any chance, is it?
No idea.
Okay.
I didn't actually take it in.
Yeah.
I just paid for it. So yeah, the exhaust fell off, and then there was the time where the engine started overheating, where it broke down when I was taking Dan home. And
That's a while ago.
Yeah, that was like a year ago, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the handbrake kept getting stuck, and then that totally locked up, so they had to take it in and service that again. Same place. They're getting all kinds of cash from us. Like, maybe that's why we passed MOT. They were like, oh, we can milk them for more cash if we just say they passed.
I think Needham's just generally got some bad effect on cars. Do you remember? Because when I had my old Mini, which admittedly wasn't the best car to begin with,
no,
in terms of its mechanical competency, where it managed to burn through the thing the rubber that held up the exhaust. That dragged on the floor, and we had to temporarily fix it with magnetic tape, which got us most of the way home before that then melted naturally.
It's more like bad design if it was like, let's attach the exhaust with a thing that can't handle the temperature of the exhaust.
Yeah, I had the same problem on my Punto, actually. It burnt through the rubber holding the exhaust up. And then we had to, because it was like, our solution was to try and it had snapped a bit of the exhaust pipe, like, further up the thing. So our solution was to detach the exhaust completely, like, on the so I could get home without it dragging on the floor the entire way.
Yeah. So,
fairly dangerously, that one of my old colleagues at Mega Bowl was underneath the car with a lighter trying to burn away the rubber holding the other the exhauster.
That's awesome.
It totally worked.
I don't think a lighter was that likely to, like, heat up the fuel tank enough to cause any kind of...
I don't know, it's just any kind of flame near a car. It's slightly... I suppose people used to smoke in cars, but, whatever.
Used to. I think they probably still do in quite a lot of cases.
Well, I suppose, but with new cars, at least, it's like cigarette lighters are an option now.
Yeah, and then, so actually the most recent time my car broke down was... Well, the battery basically died, and it makes me think that the alternator is fucked up, or the belt to the alternator is not...
The belt!
The belt is not doing it right. But we got a battery charger, so we just charged it back up, and it's like... Now that we've taken the battery out once, it should be much easier for us to theoretically take it out again if it needs to, because it was such a pain in the ass, because, like, where the battery is in the car... It's really easy to get the leads off, but then it's bolted onto the chassis, and the bolt is like in a 1-inch wide gap right down next to the battery.
So
you can't really get a wrench in there to rotate it, so you have to use a vertical screwdriver with a bolt attachment on the end of it, and then you can barely turn that. So in the end, we had to put the screwdriver on and then attach a pair of pliers to the top of the screwdriver to actually get enough force to turn it.
Yeah, I love doing that.
It was like, God damn it! How is this car so badly designed? But luckily, we're probably going to get rid of that car at some point.
Hooray!
It's
and replace it with a similar car. Basically, probably exactly the same make, only less old.
Get a Fiesta.
We're not going to get a Fiesta.
Get a Fiesta.
Why? What's that going to be?
They don't break.
Apart from you just said that, like, the exhaust.
No, that was my Punto.
Oh, the Punto. Yeah, the other one.
Fords don't break. I've had good experience with all three of mine.
There's still phone calls going on somewhere over there.
Just turn off the speakers. Do they need to be on?
No, they don't.
Okay. It's just my proposed solution. I'm not going to actually act on it.
No.
Anyway.
But, yeah, so that's my car. It's mostly fucked. And also, I've been having an eternal battle against dampness, because the inside of my car is so fucking damp somehow. It just constantly misses up. The windows are always missed up whenever you get in, when you're starting it, and it's like squeezing the inside of the window to wipe all the thing off, and then have the fan on for the whole time just to keep it clear.
That's kind of a thing with older cars.
Well, it's probably got all kinds of rust holes or some shit, because that car is a bit skanky in other places. So I was just like, I was just taken to like, I just take a rag in the car and then just wipe down as much of the dampness and then just take the rag out and dry it off somewhere else. I think it's working because today it was not quite so messed up as it usually is.
Yeah, it's been less of a problem the newer a car I have owned. So maybe it's something they just decided to get right. Maybe it's just deterioration. Something goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's proper, like, horribly, like actual water and condensation on the inside.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
It's like it was quite bad the other day before I wiped it down, where I got in, I was like, oh look, the windscreen's all wet. So I turned on the windscreen wipers and they went across, and all the drips are actually on the inside, but they were like actual drips, so it looked like rain.
Oh, right.
I was like, the windscreen wipers go across and nothing changes. It's like, oh. Apparently that's on the inside.
Great.
I hate it when like that stuff dries, because then you end up having to clean the inside of your windscreen at some point because of
that's really awkward.
Horrible marks. I hate cleaning the inside of my windscreen because I just make it worse. It goes all streaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't trust window cleaning.
No.
It doesn't seem to work very well. It cleans the window, but then when it dries, it's all fucked still.
So that's poopy car.
Need some meths or something. I don't know. Does that work? Clean it with meths on a car.
You probably wouldn't want to do it very soon before you drove.
No.
Probably want to leave all the windows open for like a day.
I don't know how you do that stuff. I try not to. Just like never clean your car.
It's clearly a great plan.
Hey, if you could avoid getting it dirty in the first place, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a better solution. So no. My car still works great.
Yeah, well, your car is like new, really.
It's like a year
because you
old,
crashed
so-
the old one.
That's what I mean. Fords don't break unless I break them. Proven. I say that's the same with Kipper's as well, with his Fiesta. It didn't break until he broke it.
Maybe you just don't have Fords long enough to know if they go wrong. You just break them too early. No, not like you,
I
but
know, true. I had my arse focus like for
that's true.
nearly 5 years.
That's true.
And the one before that I had 3 years. And this one I've had 3 months.
I wouldn't have said 3 years was that long, really, for cars.
Maybe, but it was 4 years old when I got it.
Yeah,
Oh no,
true.
2 years old when I got it, so it was 5. So it would have been on the cusp of starting to have issues, I guess, by that logic. And the one before that was a lot older. It was a 99, I think. 99 Reg green Focus.
I remember that car.
It's a beautiful colour.
It's beautiful.
Green.
That's
So, yeah,
sufficient random, clearly.
That's car news.
Yeah, okay.
Car and house news.
Let's move on to video game news.
So that you're going to get like a new Clio, you reckon?
Probably.
They're okay.
I'm only paying for half of it, so I don't actually get to choose.
You have money.
Yeah, enough for that.
Alright then.
Enough for half a car. Jeez.
Half a cheap, shitty car would probably only be like 1,000. Not like a new Focus or any shit. Or a not new Focus. In Rob's case.
I was only a year old. It's fine.
Indeed.
What would you want, though?
I have no fucking idea. All I need is a car that I can fit in. That's the main problem. That's why we're just sticking with the Clio, because we know that I fit in it.
In fairness, like, because of the way that cars have gone of late, where they seem to have got taller.
It's not tall that's the problem. It's the fact that most of my tallness is in the leg department. So I need the seat to go way back. Because it's not a problem with like banging my head on the roof or anything. I fit in vertically fine. But I need to be able to put the seat far enough back that my knees aren't hitting the indicators. Which was the problem in the smaller cars.
I think it'll be fine in any modern car.
Maybe.
So there. News!
Indeed.
Do we actually have any?
Does anyone
video
have any
games?
news? Because,
It's been 3 weeks. There should be something.
Yeah, but
But the trouble is that we can't remember any of it.
well, we're supposed to Wii U came out.
That, I think we talked about last time, didn't we?
Sort of. I think we talked about the review, but it actually came out in this country now.
did it? Is it out now?
Because before we were
Right.
disputing whether it actually came out.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I suppose... I don't know whether it says that Nintendo have got their act together this time, or if people don't care for it that much, but there isn't a stock problem.
Right, okay.
You can buy them.
Were they trying to plan for a stock problem, do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe. It might be easier to manufacture this time, or...
Okay. Well, that's good, I suppose. If you want to buy one.
I guess.
And before Christmas as well.
That's true.
They didn't screw it up and have a massive shortage at Christmas like they did with the Wii.
Well, yeah, it took me till April afterwards, I think, after the Wii's launch before I could get one.
Yeah, you couldn't get them, could you? Yeah,
No.
That's crazy. Considering it just sits there now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So does a lot of things, really.
Fair enough.
If Rob hadn't cleaned up several of his other old consoles that were sitting down
The
there.
Mega Drive and old Xbox would probably still be down there.
And the Sega CD.
Yeah. Just try not to count that. Because I couldn't get it to work. I don't have the right power adapter for it. Well, I think that's the reason anyway. I hope that's the reason. My actual legitimate real copy of Sonic CD will have to wait.
Yep.
Just play it on Explorer anyway.
Have you been playing on Xbox?
I played a couple of
Don't
times.
start talking about that yet.
Okay.
We're still in news. But yes, that's all I really have to say on the matter.
I thought of something else and
Yeah.
I forgot it. Oh wait, is that the stupid thing about because Nintendo's European offices are in Germany, they have to have time restrictions on when you can access 18 plus games on the Wii Store. It's like you can only buy them after 11 PM.
Really?
Apparently.
What, does that affect the UK as well?
Yeah, because just because their offices are in Germany, they have to abide by the German law.
Is there a data centre in Germany?
Yeah, I guess so. Or whatever. Whatever is the thing that's in Germany that has to abide by that part of the law has to stick to the German laws, which are slightly more strict than the rest of Europe.
That's kind of weird. Well, basically I say that's kind of weird, but that's just a tip of a very large iceberg with regards to Nintendo's online services.
And Europe, in terms of computer services.
Well, Germany always were weird about censorship and ratings.
But I didn't mean Germany, really. I meant...
Bonely Germany.
That's not what I said.
Sounds like Bonely.
Germany, really?
No. Well, it's like... I meant, like, just video game releases and stuff. Always being retarded in Europe. When is Scribblenauts Unlimited coming out? Those fuckers.
Hey, at least there's a PC version of that.
In theory, if it ever comes out.
Yeah.
So you really need more Scribblenauts, though? It's the same. It's always the same.
I want the PC version. I want to be able
has it
to
got a
access
keyboard?
hilarious Steam Workshop.
Yeah, exactly. They've made it Steam Workshopable.
Oh, right.
apparently,
So
which
people
will-
can add crap.
Yeah.
So I can type in random shit and it actually produces what I actually mean rather than a hat that thinks or the classic.
I wonder if they'll go down like a Little Big Planet route with it, perhaps.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
So
they can
make levels.
yeah, if they can make it so you could also make levels, that would be the best result.
Someone has to come up with some ingenious word problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that would be the problem with it, though, in that people would want to make levels for it, but they wouldn't be as clever as the people making the normal Scribblenauts levels, so they'd make them, and they'd all be really shit and easy.
Well, I
until
don't
had
think you can really be that clever with Scribblenauts, really, because you're not setting a solution, you're setting a problem, and the solution is any fucking word in the entire world. You can't account for everyone being ingenious and coming up with ridiculous solutions to your
No,
shit.
but the
I
solutions
mean, you
are based
can to
on
some extent because there's only so many mechanics that the actual words perform.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You base your solutions on the effect, not on the word.
But yeah, it's not like you can make... It's not like word puzzles, really. It's like... You're not trying to make... It's not like a crossword. You're not trying to make someone come up with a specific word. You're just trying to make them come up with a word that does a thing that the game thinks it should do.
Yeah, I suppose you could argue that that's part of the challenge with Scribblenauts is just finding out what words have what effects and then remembering those mechanics for when you need them later.
Well, that was the thing about the second DS game, where it's like... Well, I'm not sure if the first game did it as well. Where it's the old, like, resolve the puzzle 3 different ways, where you have to use different words.
Yeah.
Which was surprisingly hard, because you'd think you'd be able to think of 3 words that did the same thing mechanically, but not so much. Or at least not as easily. It's like I definitely talked about this before at the time, but the classic example was the vents, whereas like the vents blow air, so it creates like it wafts things around. It was surprisingly hard to try and think of another thing that did that. Think of another vent type thing. And it was also
geezers.
I mean, you could probably come up with other things that did that, but the other trouble was finding something that did that was as compact as a vent to shove it into all the little ingenious places you could put them.
If you put thermal, would it count it as a noun or an adjective?
I think if you put thermal, it would probably be a jumper.
Oh, I see, yeah. I guess that's the other problem, words that have two meanings.
Well, that was always the problem.
Didn't it, like, disambiguate some of them? Like,
sometimes.
And then you got, like, in brackets.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can do this or this.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm not sure, like, a thermal updraft is enough of an object to count as an object, though.
Well, it's not really a thing, is it, I suppose? It's an effect.
Yeah.
It's not like you could put loud noise in.
No,
and it's
probably not.
It'd be cool if you could. You just put loud noise and suddenly just goes bang!
I mean, you could do the stupid things like putting night and change it to nighttime.
Yeah. It doesn't just give you a moon.
Well, it does give you a moon, but that's what changes it. You put a moon in the sky and then it changes.
Moon sky.
So what else? Any more news?
Bioshock racism.
Bioshock racism.
Oh yeah, just a little post I stumbled upon yesterday about like the ridiculousness of the Stormfront forums, which are always ridiculous, and apparently
internet forums are ridiculous. No shit.
Yeah, but really badly, like saying that Bioshock Infinite. Oh, it's about a Jew killing white American patriots. It's like,
well, that's what happened with Resident Evil 5, though. So what are they expecting?
I know, but it's just, haven't we got past this yet?
No,
it's
never.
It's insane.
Okay, mysterious. I should have to look into that one. It's really quite weird.
Yeah, it's not. So the posts are pretty horrid. In fairness, so I'm not sure I'd recommend it.
Yeah, lovely.
The internet.
Yeah.
Goddamn fools.
Yeah, disappointing. I did watch some stuff, but they released some more trailers for the gameplay for Bioshock Infinite. It looks fucking nuts.
It looks all a bit like he knows exactly what he's doing in the level, and if you didn't know what you're doing, you'd be like, where the fuck am I going next?
Yeah, it's like the fact that you just jump onto a rail, and then you jump off it, and then you kill some dudes, and then you're back on the rail doing stuff, whilst knowing that Elizabeth is about to chuck you some ammo or something. It's like, how does this all work from a manageable gameplay perspective? So much going on. But admittedly, it looks really cool.
It does,
but it's just
cool.
like, I'm not sure how it's actually going to translate to a playable experience.
The classic question is, he's got this thing that attaches to rails attached to his arm, but how come his entire arm doesn't just wrench off when he attaches?
Because he's super thin.
Yeah.
Or he has one really beefy arm.
His super beef arm, like... Yeah, anyway.
Or he's a robot.
It was obviously superhuman, like the guy in the first one.
Unless this thing is attached to some sort of harness around his arm,
maybe,
so he doesn't actually have to hold on to it.
Or it's just plasmids.
Yeah. Well, it is clearly some kind of plasmid thing.
Yeah, it's like a crow plasmid or something. Summon the crows. Stun enemies for a bit.
Yeah.
And then you have to get a rocket launcher.
Well, it could be cool. I'm not a massive Bioshock guy, but I think I'd definitely give it a go.
Yeah, the concept alone is pretty cool, and I like the art style, which is always Bioshock's biggest strength. But
exactly.
even if the gameplay was always a little, not so sure.
Yeah, they're obviously going all out on the art style. So.
Yeah. It got delayed again.
Yeah, well.
So it's probably going to be sort of towards the middle of the year.
Oh, right, okay.
Now.
I thought it was like March. I thought they had it.
But they won't release it in the middle of the year because no one ever releases anything in the middle of the year. So it'll be September.
Do you think?
Maybe. Early year has seen some big releases sometimes, like Mass Effect.
Yeah, but early, not middle.
Yeah, maybe.
It's true. It's weird.
Middle ground doesn't get a lot of big releases because it's like film season and outdoor season, so game devs or game publishers are like, yeah, not so sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it got delayed to in fairness, so it might not be by much.
I think maybe it's like I was just thinking about other things that are coming out.
Stuff does come out in April, May time. Like,
other things that were coming out that I might have wanted to like come out, and I was thinking, oh no, what if SimCity gets delayed? And that's maybe a game that I could see coming out in summer because that's not.
Maybe.
That's not. It seems like a sort of a summary game. Doesn't seem like it has any specific year, time.
Like Tropico.
Oh yeah, like
Release Tropico then.
Well, that would make sense.
Tropico 4
Or Far Cry would have been it would have been thematically appropriate for a summer release.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have done. It's too high.
No,
it's too high profile.
Yeah.
What about Civ? When do the Civs normally come out?
Fucking who knows.
Okay.
They only release one of them so infrequently anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. When did Civ 2 came out in 96 or something? And now we're on 5.
Yeah.
So what rate is that?
1 every 3 years-ish. Not that bad a rate, really.
Slightly more than 3 years, isn't it? There's only been 3 more since 96.
3 since 2. Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah, I'm miscounting. I'm doing what you did yesterday. In like
maths.
Yeah. It's like 8. How come there's 3 left? 8, 9, and 10.
We've got 3 tiers in our Battlefield weapons: 1, 2, and 3.
That was genius.
Yeah, the Battlefield Aftermath, was it scavenger mode or something?
Yeah.
We don't care about Battlefield DLC.
Well, I still think Close Quarters could be fun, and Aftermath doesn't look too bad. The map looked interesting.
Have they got the the open armored kill things out?
Yeah, don't care. I hate that stuff.
You've always hated that stuff.
It's the worst bit of Battlefield. Just traversing large open areas is the worst bit of Battlefield because you just spend ages traversing it to die immediately, and if you don't have a vehicle, you're fucked.
I think that's the idea, isn't it, though? You get loads of vehicles, I presume.
Yeah, maybe, but then whoever gets the tank is going to have a fun time. Whoever gets the shitty Jeep, or was it, did they introduce the ATVs in that? Or
in what?
Did they have ATVs in that? Or are they saving that for the last release?
I can't remember.
I think they are in, aren't they?
They put in artillery rocket launchers, so I'm not sure how those even work. Although I think the thing that would probably annoy me, and this is sort of related to another game, but they put in the classic like AC-130 style weapons, and the trouble was the reason that also was annoying me was because they basically have an equivalent kind of thing in Planetside 2, where it's like one of the weapon unlocks you can get for one of the aircraft is basically like a tank gun attached to the bottom of it. Which is super fucking annoying, because it just hovers a million miles away where no one can see it and just pounds you and just murders everyone in the base, and there's nothing you can do about it really in Planetside 2, because none of the anti-air weapons, or at least none of the infantry anti-air weapons are lock-on, so you can't...
Oh, are they not?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
It's all flak. So you can't really do anything about it, and also because it can shoot from so far away, you can barely even. But it's like if you're standing out there looking at the sky trying to see it, you're already dead.
I thought I'd seen.
You can't stand there and go, "Where the fuck is that thing?" Because it just shoots you.
I thought I'd seen anti-air rockets track.
Aircraft have homing rockets.
No, from the ground. I thought I'd seen that, but okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, unless it's one of the actual unlocks I haven't noticed.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the anti-air...
But the unlocks are behind such ridiculous...
Well, yeah, that too.
Like,
it's obviously... obviously that attachment for that aircraft is one of the most expensive ones for that aircraft. And it's like, anyone who's using it and you're dying by, it's like, those fuckers. They paid for this. They're just racking up the cheapo kills.
We'll talk about Planetside 2 later, but that does sound a little bit like pay to win.
Yeah. So yeah, what else news?
I ain't got much else. I'm a bit Burned.
Burned. We haven't made any plans for Game of the Year yet.
Yeah.
I've
been making a list. Fuck you guys. I'm planned.
I don't call that a plan. Making a list is like required.
I'm checking it twice.
It's just like look at the wiki. This is how you make a list.
Well, was that too?
The games released in 2012 wiki page.
Oh right, okay.
I haven't done that yet.
That's how you make a list. You don't actually try to remember.
I went through the tag list for the Saladcast just so we know what we played.
Yeah, I guess.
It's because, it's a bit hard for us to vote on stuff that we haven't played.
It's a bit hard for us to vote on stuff anyway, because rarely have we all played it, or even two of us in most cases.
Oh yeah, but that involves two of us, that probably will have two of us trying to convince the other one. I suppose the last few years is the problem. We've voted for things that we've all played.
Yeah. What was it?
Portal 2 last year.
Well, Portal 2 was acceptable.
Mass Effect 2.
Because that was actually good.
Mass Effect 2 was actually good too.
Yeah.
But we've got some seriously high-profile quality games this year, though. Like Halo 4, Black Ops 2, Mass Effect 3. They're all brilliant. Fez. Pinball Arcade.
I would need towards Fez. I haven't even played that.
I'm interested more to see other people's Game of the Year stuff. Because it seems like there's quite a high chance of there being smaller stuff actually in the fight.
You can't say that. It's like saying, fuck our Game of the Year. Just go.
I was quite interested in seeing other people's.
Yeah,
I didn't see our one was going to be bad.
How long until we find out that, Giant Bomb Game of the Year isn't
until Christmas, yeah.
Or is it after Christmas?
No, it is Christmas.
We don't do ours until the year's actually up.
No,
not that we have a strict timetable or anything, or ever make any plans of it. It's just like, when's the next 2 weeks podcast due? Oh wait, it's this week. Well, we'll do Game of the Year instead.
Because the Christmas break is quite a good time to catch up on a few things.
Well, provided we're not doing stuff, yeah. We don't do it in advance, like places that actually have to go on holiday at Christmas, where it's like, now I'm going to not be working and go home, whereas we can turn up pretty much whenever.
Well, America has the convenient Thanksgiving break, I suppose, for this.
Not that they do it then.
No, but they can go and get some game in, I guess. I guess. It's a holiday sort of roughly before when it becomes...
Also something we don't do. We don't try and play more stuff to catch up.
No, I guess not.
But you don't do anything but play games anyway, so...
I don't play games I want.
Yeah.
Don't force myself to play shitty games, or games I'm not interested in playing, even if they are good.
You should still play Mass Effect 3, though.
Maybe. I keep thinking about ordering it. It's been in my Amazon shopping basket for ages, and then it's just I keep forgetting to actually hit the go button. Also, because I don't want to just buy a single game from Amazon, because that seems like a waste. It's shove some other stuff in there.
Oh, I order single things off Amazon all the time, especially because it has free Super Saver delivery, so it doesn't matter what the fuck.
It's free delivery.
Yeah, that's true. It just doesn't seem like... It seems like there should be some other stuff that I should be getting from Amazon at the same time that I keep forgetting about.
Well, like socks? What's that other shit?
Do they sell socks?
Yeah, you can get socks from Amazon.
Maybe I should buy some socks.
There's a clothing outlet in there on Amazon now or something.
They do shoes, I know that. I don't know about socks.
Oh, I'd never order shoes online. That seems like a dumb idea.
It does. Why are they focused
Well, I equally don't want to go to a shoe shop. Because that's just a lot of hassle in itself.
What, you mean just go to Asda then?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the shoes are shit, you only paid £2 for them.
Go to JJB Sports or something, only you can't because it's shut now. Places that aren't actually shoe shops, so you don't have to deal with shoe shopping.
Sports Direct, isn't there, for that sort of thing? Or
maybe.
If you want trainers?
Fuck shoe shops.
Yeah. I don't know, yeah, last time I bought a pair of shoes that I really liked and were probably the most I've ever spent on a pair of shoes. Fucking tear my feet apart.
So really you did a very good job.
They were comfortable until you start walking in them for any kind of distance, and then you realise you've lost the skin on the back of your heel.
So you didn't walk backwards and forwards in the shop sufficiently?
No, I didn't make it to the point where it was painful.
They should put a treadmill. Yeah. Just stand here and run in place for 10 minutes and see if you're okay.
Yeah, but then you'd probably fuck the shoes up so no one else wants to buy them.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Yeah, so it's for that brief moment in time, I finally had an appreciation for shoes, and then it went like that.
Why did you appreciate them before that? It was like they were good until.
Well, no, because before it would always just been I could get away with like spending like a couple of pounds on a shit pair of trainers from Asda, and they'd last like 6 years and be comfortable, and it'd be like, fuck it, I don't get what this deal is with shoes. And then for this moment in time, it was like, but those are pretty. It's like, and quite stylish. They're my Vans, by the way. The sort of sneaker style Vans.
How much are they?
They were about 50 quid.
Oh, that's fine. Isn't it?
That's more than I've ever spent on shoes.
The thing is, if you spend more on shoes, they literally do last longer. It is true.
I'm not sure. Well, actually, no. I've had a pair of. I've had some. No, well, those ones will last fucking ages because I barely wear them. And it's But, you know, I have had some seriously cheap shoes that just lasted ages. I think the ones that they're now falling apart, and I use them solely for either going out in the garden and getting dirty, or going up into the loft. Because, you know, walking around on loft boards barefoot seems like a bad idea.
Loft shoes.
Yeah, they're my loft shoes. But they were from Matalan and were like a £5, but they lasted like a decade. So, you know, maybe my view on quality shoes has been skewed by having seriously good luck with super cheap shoes.
Yeah, maybe.
But
it's kind of cool if you can.
But yeah, you know, it's like these Vans haven't helped my opinion.
Well, they're uncomfy then.
Really? Well, they're fine until you walk any distance in them.
Right. Well, I guess they're
like 20 minutes is enough. You walk for 20 minutes, like the route I used to do in Cambridge, or from the train station to the centre of town, that kind of thing. And by that point, you want to stop, take them off, and just not move for the rest of the day, which is fine because you then get to work. But then you've got to get back, and your feet still hurt, and there's still like missing bits. I'm missing a bit of my heel.
Weird.
It's on that foldy bit, you know.
Like, what were we talking about before this?
Shoes. I don't know.
We hadn't quite finished news, but I can't remember what bit of news led to that whole conversation.
I hope these boots last like a decade. Do you want to guess how much they were?
They were over 100 quid, weren't they?
Yep. Keep going.
200 quid?
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, holy fuck.
No, they're really stupid. I would never do that again. I didn't have to pay rent at the time. I was like, right, well, I'm going to be walking a lot. They're quite stupid, though. And I broke the lace, so now I have to go and find, like, new laces.
Man, I hate shoelaces as well.
Oh, yeah.
The shoelaces on these shoes are those stupid... I hate stupid synthetic laces, because when you tie them up, it's like, they don't grip, so they don't actually stay tied, ever.
These have been really, like, I don't know, I presume these are leather or whatever they are, but I have to go back. There's only, like, one shop in England that sells these fucking shoes. I have to go back to, like, Covent Garden and get...
You don't have to get the official shoelaces.
No, that's true, but the thing is, they do, like... I don't know.
They're just black.
Does it detract from the value of the shoe?
No, I'm just wondering. Because it doesn't look like a normal, like shoelaces for like a normal shoe would probably wear even faster than that, because they're like flat and...
You can get flat normal shoelaces.
Yeah, maybe. It's just because this is like waterproof and everything. I suppose it doesn't matter, does it? No. Okay.
You can replace the laces plenty of times, just as long as the shoe's okay.
I reckon you can get those off Amazon. There you go, that's what we were talking about.
Shoelaces. Yeah, that was what
okay, you probably can. It'd be from some third-party seller thing. Yeah. Anywho.
Foot Locker. I bet Foot Locker have a shit ton of laces.
Oh, yeah, they will do, I know, but... never mind. Actually, the manufacturer looked up their website and they said they'd send you free replacement laces, but only in the US and Canada. Oh, like, oh goddamn!
Point.
Like, give us your address and we'll just send them.
Bitchin'.
Anyway,
shoes.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know. I think it's been slow on the news front.
Yeah,
it's like everyone's winding down.
Kind of. There's been a bit of vague goddess news.
Goddess or goddess.
Is it goddess?
It's got to be goddess, even though it looks like goddess to me. But
yeah, not much though. He seems to be showing way too much of it way early, I suppose. But I guess he's a Kickstarter.
What he does.
Yeah, that's what you need to do for a Kickstarter, really.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't there supposed to be like a working prototype that you can like try like now or something?
I don't know.
Anyway,
they did update the Cube as well. so that you can now see people, the curiosity cubes. You can now see people mashing the cubes in real time when you're zoomed in, which is kind of cool. And it also, when you're zoomed out, you can see like light sparkles of where the most activity is.
Yeah.
So you can go and zoom in and like, I'm going to help people out over here. It's, another pointless addition to an already pointless thing.
Brilliant. Good old Molyneux. Molyneux. Down there in Guildford, saying dumb things.
The Jewel of Surrey.
Jewel of Surrey. Where did you hear that?
That was on one of those. That was on that video we literally just watched a few minutes ago on the Xbox. One of those that pwned thing.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that.
I wish I could claim credit for that, but I can't.
The Jewel of
Do you
Surrey.
really wish you could claim credit for that?
Actually, no, I don't give a shit.
No. So that's the end of news, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless we can think of anything else, which we can't.
Goom! I guess my intro for the game segment.
Goom!
Goom!
So,
The Smash Bros. Game noise.
Robert Kemp,
Goom!
what have you been playing?
Fuck ton of stuff.
Obviously.
Where should we start? Let's start with the big guns because we didn't get much time to talk about Halo 4 last time before we...
Literally the big guns.
Yep.
Or the lots of guns and shooting of things in the face.
Yeah.
Genre. Goggle wee wee.
So I've now finished that. Played through the campaign on, heroic level, and played even more multiplayer. Still haven't done Spartan Ops because I'm waiting for Zach, so we can do that on co-op and do it properly.
We've got to do co-op campaign first. Though.
Yeah, we're only a little way, 3 missions into co-op campaign, so we've got a shit ton more of that to do. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But the story is kind of weak.
Yep.
I mean, I know that's no big shocker for a Halo thing, but I think they sort of got it so right in Reach.
Yeah, Reach was cool. I quite like Reach.
Although
I wasn't sure. The characters weren't like super strong, but the actual
but the actual sort of
prequel
plot
story
was
was
okay.
alright, yeah.
It's like, there was a few twists, a few turns. So this doesn't really have that. You kind of... It sets itself up, and by the end of Mission 3, where that controversy involving the Didact occurs, where everyone seems to know what the fuck's going on, except the player, it sort of just follows the natural course from there. There are some segments where it borrows quite heavily from Halo 1.
Uh-huh.
And, it just doesn't interest me. Shit, Cortana gets worse. The Didact becomes a bigger threat at one point.
Threat to who?
Wow, is that spoilers? Wow. And it doesn't answer any of the most pertinent questions about the whole setting of that game. Like, just why stuff is how it is. It just doesn't answer any of that. Right. And it plays a few... I think it's about at the end of Mission 5 or something. It plays a ridiculous curveball as to why Master Chief is who he is, in a way. And it's like, really? You've played that card? Oh, it's just... I don't know. Not so much of a fan. I am a fan of how they've done it, how it's told, and the quality of presentation is right up there. It's just not great when you start thinking about the beats. You know what I mean? The story beats.
The beats.
The beats.
It's all about the beats.
Dr. Beats.
Paging Dr. Beats.
So, but it plays great, I have to say. It plays like Halo, which is no bad thing, but they don't really do much with it, if you know what I mean. It's not... I think it's almost like 343 are just sitting there saying, we've tweaked a few things, but we haven't changed the formula. You can trust us with this. To the point where they actually say that in the credits, where it's like, thanks for trusting us with this beloved franchise or something like that. It's like, they've played it somewhat safe, you could argue, but maybe they needed to. Maybe for their first outing.
I think they're always going to play it safe.
Yeah. But it's a technically brilliant game. You saw it yesterday. The graphics are much improved.
It's pretty amazing that you can get that out of a 360.
Yeah,
and that if you had known it's weird how like all you need is knowledge, and like you could have written that game and it could have come out, 5 years ago and looked the same because the hardware is the same.
It's weird how that doesn't really apply to the PC world so much, does it? There are certain like developers, like Codemasters, I'll bring out here, who write the Ego engine for Dirt 2 and Dirt 3, and it looks amazing and runs like stink. It looks great and runs fast.
Yeah.
And that's probably come out of the knowledge they've learnt from how to optimize the engine on consoles.
Probably 360 and more than...
Yeah, exactly. And they've done that level of work to make the PC versions great. That's often why there's a massive delay between I would imagine, between why the console launch comes out and then it takes a while for them to then put the PC version out. Presumably different optimizations, but they do that. Yeah. It's like, and then you have something like Battlefield, which, don't get me wrong, looks pretty great on my machine, but it struggles. I can't run it with all of its prowess and stuff like that, and and an Xbox can fucking do that as well.
Wow.
It's like, it's not got all the settings ramped up, but it can do Battlefield pretty well on 7-year-old hardware.
Mysterious.
Do you know what I mean? There's a weird... I don't think it always translates, which is a bit frustrating. I mean, I know often PC requirements are a bit different. Like, the resolution is often higher, so you're putting your graphics card under quite a lot more load than the Xbox's 720 output. But it's
just all the weird tricks you can do when the hardware is like homogeneous. It's like all the same.
Yeah.
So like
as I say, you've had developers on it for 7 years, maybe 8 years, depending on when the dev kits came out.
Yeah.
And it's They know this shit now. They must. It's weird every time we say they must be reaching the limits of this hardware by now.
Well, this is the last gasp, isn't it? Kind of for 360, this Halo 4 business. But
it's still getting better. This is the thing. Like, you'd think by the end of a console cycle there'd be like a year or two where they haven't improved that much.
Yeah,
but they still are. It's like Black Ops isn't a great example, but it's still kind of technically impressive. Some of the lighting they use in places is great.
Weird how they just...
And the fact that there's so much going on and it always runs at 60 frames per second, still is fascinating. And with each iteration of the game, they just do more and more. They don't perhaps up the quality of it, but they make the engine handle more.
Yeah.
Just at the same time. And it's...
There's definitely a trend for like, we've hit the limits on like the engine detail and stuff. Let's just muck about with lighting and what can we do?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
you can see that in both COD blobs and in like Halo 4.
Yeah, like I think there's like poly limits, for instance.
Yeah,
like the polygon count doesn't seem to have gone up for a while. They've just made the effects nicer.
Yeah,
and found ways to make them a bit more realistic. And animation techniques, for instance, I guess don't actually take up much more processing power.
Probably
when they're
not.
done well.
Yeah.
It's just that studios have got more money and like animation techniques in general have just got better and more natural looking.
Yeah.
Which all obviously plays into the whole game's aesthetic. But, it's... Yeah, Halo 4, there you go. It's, I still stand by I think we touched on this last time, that they've revamped a lot of the audio design.
Yeah, that assault rifle gun sounds...
The assault rifle sounds great. Actually, most of the human guns sound pretty cool, with the possible exception of the battle rifle, which sounds a little bit like a hit laser.
Right.
It's like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
And the pistol sounds kind of weird now. It's not quite so...
Used to be meaty as hell, though.
Yeah, it's like a... before, now it's kind of a... It's a bit pansy. But maybe it's how it's supposed to be, really. It's a
Probably,
pistol.
Yeah, it is a pistol.
But, those sounds don't sound so good. And I still kind of agree with Zach's comments about that the Covenant weapons just don't feel like they have any punch. And, like, even the carbine doesn't feel like it has much of a punch, and it's supposed to be like a rifle-y sort of thing. Like, that feels weaker than it did before.
Right, yeah.
And the Prothean weapons, with the possible exception of the Prothean shotgun, don't sound very powerful either, compared to the chunk of metal that you get from a human gun.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer some of the old sounds, I think, for that stuff. But,
yeah.
Not for Protheans, but for Covenant stuff. But I suppose the good example of that is the new Storm rifle, which is the Covenant equivalent of the assault rifle, and it just sort of sounds like fat, 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 fat.
Right. That doesn't sound so good. Just
a lot quicker than that. Fat, 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 fat. Grenades are less useful, so I found myself barely using them.
Yeah. That was the whole deal with Halo.
Well, they still have the ability to flush people out.
Right, yeah.
If you want to use it for that. With the possible exception of the pulse grenades. The pulse grenades are a bit strange. They're the Prothean ones, and they basically create a sort of damaging field for a little while. If you're standing in it, you get hurt very slowly. They don't really do much to you, and then it collapses on itself and causes a pretty small explosion, really. It's, if you're standing right on it, then you're going to die. But if you're just a little bit away from it, you're fine. It's not going to do you any harm.
Yeah.
So they're a tricky thing to use. Plus, because they have so long sat there, just being big and glowy, everyone just gets out of the way.
Right, yeah.
And unless you have a particularly stupid Prothean knight that just happens to walk right through it, and you're like, but they have to be pretty dumb to do that. Hunters are still a pain in the shit. It's just, I friggin' hate hunters now. It's like they used to be. I don't know. In Halo 1, it was kind of cool, a bit exploitable, I suppose. But,
yeah, they were quite easy.
But then, I don't know if it was after Halo 2 or during Halo 2, they came up with this idea. Oh, hunters are always in pairs.
Right, yeah.
And then they just became.
No, I think they were always in pairs, weren't they? In Halo 1?
No, the first one you fight is on its own.
Is it?
I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
And it's on that island level, isn't it? The
the cartographer, silent cartographer.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll play Anniversary Edition again soon. So,
I thought they were in pairs.
I thought that first encounter was just one, and I seem to remember another section where there's just one that comes out of. It might be the same level actually, where he just comes out of one of the complexes you're about to go into.
Right. Yeah.
It's on that one where there's a little raised platform. Sort of around a cliff, sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's the actual entrance is kind of halfway up this cliff. It's not a very steep, big cliff, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I think there's just one that comes out of that corridor when you're on your approach, and then there's a sword elite in there when you start working your way into that opening. But yeah, I don't know what they changed, but they've just become much more annoying. And because, I guess, partly out of their ability to animate them better, they can just hit in virtually every direction around them. So being behind them isn't very safe.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll just turn around and go wooblat. So it just makes it a bit of a crapshoot as to what they're going to do. I find as to your success rate with them. And we did have a glitch when we were playing co-op where their fuel rod cannons went invisible.
Yeah.
So we couldn't see where the shots were going. It's like, oh crap.
And also probably because of co-op, it was really difficult to tell when you were actually hitting them because you didn't see any of that ridiculous orange blood like they usually have.
Yeah, it doesn't do that in single player. It is just a co-op thing. It might have been related to the same glitch, in fairness, that things just weren't appearing.
Yeah.
But, we weren't getting much of an impact when we were shooting them, so it's hard to tell whether we were actually doing damage or not. And even when it is in single player, to be honest, the orange splat isn't quite so big as it used to be. I don't like hunters. But, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how this sets up as a trilogy yet. It's not particularly clear by the way it ends.
Right, okay.
Which is, I suppose, a good thing. You don't really know where they're going with it. But it doesn't end on a particularly high note. It's all kind of down and...
Well, obviously, what's going to happen is my incredible prediction and towers.
Here we go. This is fine. These aren't spoilers.
I haven't played past Mission 3, so I don't actually know.
I want to
so if I say anything hilariously accurate, that'll just be funny. But it's so obviously, where I've got to, which isn't really that much of a spoiler, but there's humans again.
Yeah.
You find some humans, and the Didact is all like, grr, humans, sort of, for some reason, because he's some kind of evil guy.
It's pretty much all the story tells you.
Yeah.
Great.
But then it's just so obviously what's going to happen is that, coincidentally, it's going to be exactly the same story again. It's going to be okay, the Didact is going to eventually be Covenant, and then the Covenant is going to be oh shit, we have to ally with the humans, and then there's going to be a portal, and then this is in Halo 6. And then there's going to be a ship, and then you go for a portal, and then you end up at Earth, and the Didact's oh, we must destroy Earth, and then you have to defend Earth, and then you have to fight him back, and then you go to a secret facility, and then it all blows up, and everyone's happy. That's basically Halo 6 and Halo 7 now. or 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
You know,
It's the same story again.
You know what? I don't want to say anything, but
you don't want to say anything.
I'm desperate to say something, but I can't. I just can't. But it's
There's going to be the shitty middle game where at the end it's a horrible cliffhanger when you get back to Earth.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
And it's like, who's that? Oh, it's Master Chief again.
well, I think it's going to play out a little... I would say it now. I think it's going to play out a little differently from that, but only a little bit.
Sounds quite spot on to me. Lol.
Maybe.
They've already used the jumping out of space thing, though, so they don't need to do that again.
Yeah,
they might do that.
No, then again, I guess they did do it in like several of the Halo games. Where it's like
they've done it in 3
for a brick or whatever.
They've done it in 3 and Reach already.
Yeah, well, Reach doesn't really count. That wasn't Master Chief.
No, when George throws you out of the cruiser,
yeah,
and you just wake up,
get
somewhere.
Up. Then you happen to be right next to this city,
New Alexandria. Yeah, you wake up there. And then, the classic ones where you just jump off the back of that thing. Is that the Ark? That's not the Ark, is it? No,
it's something.
Yeah.
It's a ship.
You just jump off the back of that.
And you also jump off the guns station through a Covenant cruiser. That's not technically... You don't fall all the way.
Oh,
you go back into another ship.
That's Halo 2, yeah, where you're flying with the bomb.
Yeah.
But you don't really...
You drop the bomb off and then you just get back in. Oh, you land on another human ship.
Yeah, you land on Miranda Keys' ship. Is it Miranda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a break.
He flew pretty good.
Yeah.
So they've done that several times.
And it does... And then the story does link up with that Forward Unto Dawn.
Well, yeah, because the good dude is the captain of that ship or whatever.
Well, he's not the captain, but he's
on the ship.
Yeah, a member of Infinity is Lasky, who is in the...
Even though the whole thing in Forward of the Dawn is like, he's really bad in cryosleep. So he's like, but I still want to go on a ship. Fuck it. I might die, but whatever.
Yeah, that might be why he's not a combat guy anymore, or has progressed up to leadership.
Yeah, but that whole ship was a cryo ship, wasn't it? Because that's why it's so far away from Earth now.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's... No, I don't know. Yeah. He may die at any point.
Yeah, probably. Allergic reaction. Blah!
But none of that's in the game, naturally.
No.
There's too much that's not in the game.
Did you watch the Terminal videos?
I've watched 3 of them.
The ones that we found, basically.
Yeah, and I didn't really find many others. I found a couple more during my gameplay, but I haven't got all of them yet. And I haven't watched those that I've found since the first ones we got. I should probably show you those.
Yeah.
They explain a little more of what's going on. Like, they are from the far, far past.
Right.
As far as I can tell. I probably shouldn't say very much, but they're from a long time ago, and you should watch them. I still find it bizarre that they just didn't bother making that part of the game, though.
Yeah,
they should be in the game. You shouldn't have to go to fucking Waypoint
because they want people to go to Waypoint.
I point to the smart glass stuff as well, because naturally. This is part, every game that Microsoft publishes has to have smart glass now. Well,
arguably. It's the same as saying, the PlayStation wanted people to make shit for home. They want them to do it, but I'm not sure.
Microsoft published stuff, they have said they will do it. It's not like third party, yeah, fuck it, they can do what they want. But it's Microsoft stuff will have smart glass.
Yeah, but
and it's
whatever that means.
Yeah, in some capacity. And in this case, it's basically a sort of mini waypoint, if you know what I mean. So you can view stats.
Yeah.
And it's not a great interface, and it's basically it's utterly pointless. That's what the point I'm trying to make. It's like there really isn't any worth in having the smart glass for Halo 4.
Right.
Really. I don't know, unless there's an option I didn't find in it or something, but it's a crappy interface. It's not really very touch-friendly, and maybe this is because of device restrictions or something, but...
It's not device restrictions.
But you know what I mean? Because the fact that they've designed it for both Surface, Android, and iOS.
Yeah, but they all have a touchscreen, don't they?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they're still finding their feet with how to get this stuff to work. I don't know. Smart glass needs some work, if you ask me. It could be cool, but so far they've just not done anything particularly well. The Forza Horizon GPS sounds like the most useful thing to have come out of it, but I don't know how it works. Can't say I've tried it. But
It's just like a map, or what?
well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a map or if it's like a
Basically
map
just
that
like
lines
Wii
up
U.
things.
So
Well, no, that's what it should be. To be honest, it should be like Wii U, or like a Vita connecting to a PS3, or even like a GBA connecting to a GameCube. That's what it should be. Currently, it's not.
All right.
As far as I've seen, it's like just kind of crap. I want them to put the whole dashboard, the Xbox Dash should be, the whole thing should be on smart glass. So you can navigate through that, because that dash is kind of already touch friendly, really, when you think about it and you look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, from a design perspective, it would already work quite well. So why don't they make that whole dash available on smart glass so you can just navigate around your box using a touchscreen? That sounds like a much better idea than the shitty, weird swipe controls that they have already that just move your cursor around the screen.
Yeah, but that's
It's like, and the smart glass itself does have some capability to launch games and browse around your console's content without the interrupting what's going on screen. But maybe you want that. I don't know. They've not got it right. Oh yeah, but they could. So Halo 4, yeah, get it. And I like Regicide on the multiplayer. It's fun. Regicide. I seem pretty good at it. Well, no, I don't. I've only won like 1 out of 5 games, but it's a free-for-all game type, so it's
right. Yeah,
it's kind of tricky to actually win.
Regicide.
But yes, we must play more. We must play Spartan Ops. People say it's good.
So what's the deal with Spartan Ops?
Story-based co-op missions.
Okay, like Spec Ops.
Yeah, well, Spec Ops didn't really have story. They were like set up as a scenario. You know what I mean? Whereas a Spartan Ops season is like an ongoing tale.
Oh, okay.
If you know what I mean, it's like a separate. It's like a separate campaign, really, but they're mini missions rather than full-on things.
Right.
With specific, I'd imagine it would be a bit like some of them are probably like survival style kind of things, a bit like Firefight used to be, and other ones will be like, oh, just push to this location. I guess
like Battlefield 3's co-op.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that sort of thing, which is fine. The Battlefield 3 co-op ones were okay. They were fine. Kind of wish there was more of them, to be honest, but
well. We really should have replayed them more than once in some cases. Maybe for the score, because we got shit all.
Yeah, the score requirements in those were pretty harsh, in fairness. Didn't they reduce them at one point?
Yeah, and that's why we still have shit all, because I expect if we went back and played any of those again, we'd probably unlock 5 more guns or something.
Yeah, maybe. They were pretty tricky. But there's just some segments where it was just brutal.
Yeah.
And annoyingly often those segments were towards the end of a mission, and it's just like, oh, now I've got to do the whole fucking thing again. There was some Spec Ops stuff in COD like that, though, in fairness. Like anything involving fucking juggernauts in the old games, which is just basically dudes wearing metal suits.
Right, yeah.
Which you can't really shoot. Unless you're like a million miles away from them and have a sniper rifle and can headshot them a few times before they can shoot at you. Or before they decide to shoot at you. That was always the best way to take them out. But then there were sections... Oh, there's one in particular which was in the plane graveyard, which I think is one of the scenes from Modern Warfare 2. Where at one point one just appears behind you before you've had a chance to finish off another one that's in front of you, and you're like, oh god, no, there's just...
God damn it.
And then, just fighting them head on is a problem. And then you die. And then you've got to do that whole incredibly hard line, wind up to them again. It lost its intrigue for me at that point.
Right, fair enough.
It's just this one dumb design. Blick! Halo 4, over.
Yeah, what's next?
Been playing more Black Ops. Started the campaign again. I like it that much. It's making me want to play it through twice.
I should hope so, to get the freaking value out of that campaign. How long is it?
It's a good 8 hours. It's longer than most CODs.
Okay. Cool. Anyway.
Well, I said It might not be 8 hours, but it's
standard length for COD.
I don't know. It feels longer than previous COD games. Like, not because of its missions, perhaps the Strike Force stuff on the side probably pads it out a bit, and it's well, maybe it's just a more interesting story, so it feels longer. I don't know, but I love the branching story stuff. So I want to, this run through is a right. Well, can I change it here? Can I change it here? What will happen if I do this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna still try and play it sort of like I did the first time. Like, I'm going to keep some of the decisions the same because that's just me being a good guy, I guess. And I know for a fact that they'll probably just end up worse if I don't do that. But yeah, we'll see. It's fun. It's actually good. So no.
So no.
So
what?
no.
Why do you say that?
Well, because COD fatigue. People like.
There's been some extreme backlash on COD lately. It's been the worst I've heard, I think.
Really?
Yeah, like Rock Paper Shotgun's review of COD Blops was really strange. They kept going on about, and Yahtzee was basically doing the same thing. But I don't know, it was weird the way they were framing it. They were framing it like it was a really sad because of how much work had gone into it and how it was kind of...
And you know what, I would have
we said that about
Modern Warfare 3, yeah.
They put a lot of effort into making the same thing.
I think we talked about it specifically. We were trying to think of stuff about laziest sequel, weren't we? Because it was the laziest sequel in terms of mechanics and how the game plays. But actually, we can't call it lazy because of just how much fucking effort goes into making one of those games.
Yeah, exactly. The amount of money and effort and all that animation and all these tiny little details in the world and stuff. All this craziness.
It's pretty, from that perspective, it's an impressive thing they've put together. But it's and I can get that. But I think the series, the Black Ops series has been so different from the Modern Warfares. Yeah, they've actually made it interesting. Yeah, and if I can see why, maybe not so much in the first Black Ops. If you'd have played Modern Warfare 1, 2, and then got Black Ops, that would have been more similar. But this one is different enough that it feels that there's no fatigue in it for me.
To be fair, actually...
Well, it might have been because I missed Modern Warfare 3, in fairness.
maybe.
Because of the fatigue.
You skipped a year. That's probably worthwhile. Rock, Paper, Shotgun, actually, thinking about it, they were super negative on Assassin's Creed 3 as well.
A lot more people don't like Assassin's Creed as much.
I'll agree with the AC... that AC hasn't been quite as well received as Blops has. There's been definitely more of a negative air about that.
I'm not. It's put me off completely. I quite like. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed 2. It was really good, and Brotherhood was good too.
It was good, but it's not as good as 2.
No, and then
mainly because of the story, I guess.
Yeah,
Brotherhood's probably better mechanically, but.
Yeah, I think that's probably where it sits. And I prefer the environments the cities in 2, the smallest.
Yeah, true.
The small variety there than just Rome all the time.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one.
But it's kind of a shame. But I don't know, it was always kind of a weird idea of setting, I suppose. But I guess it was different, so it was kind of cool to do the American Revolution and stuff. It didn't seem to fit.
I think it's... Well, yeah, I'm not sure, because... One of the weirder things for me, anyway, again, having not played the game, it's hard to judge, but was the return to the frontier part of the game, because the kingdom from the first Assassin's Creed one,
right,
which was the kind of the open area between the cities, and they kind of dropped that for the others, and that was a good decision, if you ask me.
It's a bit of countryside in 2, but it was like a road.
Yeah, and their choice to sort of go back to that, which is where the game doesn't work. Just has never worked quite so well.
Yeah, seems odd.
Seemed like a weird choice. Maybe they thought it's like, right, okay, well, maybe we've learned something since then. Let's have another go at this.
But anyway,
maybe it was part of the original vision. You know what I mean? And then someone somewhere was like, "Well, we've always wanted to do this, but we weren't good enough last time at pulling it off. So let's have another go." And maybe they'll drop it again.
I'm just wondering what's going on with my light fatigue because, obviously, I'm not I haven't played many of the CODs since 4 or Modern Warfare 2 or whatever it was, and I went off that series, obviously, so I'm not that interested in Blops 2. But then Halo, I've played all the Halo games, apart from ODST, all the way through in Legendary, and I'm still not enthused about 4. And Assassin's Creed, I really like that series. I'm not enthused about buying 3 at all, so I seem to be completely down on
maybe you should just buy Far Cry 3 and just take a
total
total right turn.
That's my plan.
Somewhere else.
I'm literally going to go home tonight and buy that and play that, I think, this week, since I got it off. That's my plan.
This may be controversial, but at this point, I actually think that Halo fatigue is probably a worse problem than COD fatigue.
Yeah,
because I think this year is different enough to get around that problem. Halo is still Halo.
That's the thing. Actually, it
and
might
everyone
be...
everyone was hoping for something slightly different, but they didn't even manage that much, really.
No, not really. It's still Halo. I mean, it's different in some ways, but it's...
I guess if they'd done the COD thing, if they'd done that and started up the new studio and started interleaving before Bungie stopped...
An annual release, you mean?
Well, not necessarily annual, but I'm just saying if they were...
They have done that for the last few years, really, with Halo, haven't they? Since Halo 3.
Yeah.
Because it was Halo 3, ODST, Reach, Anniversary Edition, and then now...
Well, I guess.
So there has been a Halo every year, technically.
Yeah, they'll probably try and keep that up somehow. I wonder if they'll copy that A-Team and B-Team it with Halo and have some... Because that leaves you open to do something more different in the other stream.
In the
same way that Black Ops does it. Yeah.
In the same way that ODST was...
Yeah, exactly.
Was
different.
Was quite a departure, yeah.
That would be alright. Because ODST was much more different to normal Halo than Halo 4 is.
Yes, I'd agree with that. ODST is a very different flavour.
But
it's great.
Yeah,
cool.
It's
a very underrated thing, I think. It's just...
Yeah, I think it's cool. The Halo 3 engine was a bit off, though, in terms of graphically until Reach. Reach put it right. Yeah. But there you go. Anyway, I just thought that was a thought. Yeah. Anyway, that won't happen, though. Well, something might happen, because they might have to keep up the pace of Halo releases faster than 343 can put them out. So they might have to do something.
Perhaps, although 343 is pretty big.
That's true, that's true.
But then if they were to just release 5 and 6 on a yearly basis, that only comes in the next 2 years. That seems like they want to string them out slightly more than that.
Yeah, I think at this point it will be another 2 years till we see Halo 5.
Yeah, because it takes time to make games.
Well, presumably they'll want to save at least one of them for the next Xbox.
Yeah, no, Halo. I think Halo 5 will be a next gen release.
Probably. Well,
they'll want to hold that one back, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
because if they do it if they rush it now, I don't think it'll work that well, or it'll start falling into the same problems. And I think they're a little. This is a massive assumption, but I get the impression that Microsoft are a little bit smarter than that when it comes to their IPs. I think they're not. It doesn't feel like they treat Halo the same way that they treat Call of Duty or that Ubisoft treat Assassin's Creed.
For some reason, when you just said Microsoft and their IPs, I was just Blink's the Time Sweeper. The best Microsoft IP ever.
Oh man, I played
that first game was pretty good.
Yeah, well, it was quite hard.
Yeah.
It was good though.
It was a unique concept at the time.
It wasn't a good character for mascot at all. But it was kind of everyone takes the piss out of that, but that was kind of...
Oh shit, I want to play that now.
I kind of
play Viva
Pinata. It was
I don't know why
hard.
that's the equivalent, but I just...
What, Viva Pinata?
Yeah.
It was fucking hard, Blinks.
You know what? Viva Pinata is one of those games where whenever I think about it, I actually have that sort of I should really do that again, but then I remember all the complexity.
Yeah, the actual work.
And it's actually, you know what? It's going to take me quite a while to get back into the swing of it in the same way that I...
Exactly. Stop kicking the table. You make the mic make noise.
Make the mic make noise?
Yep.
Not the mic pick up noise.
No.
The mic just sits there going, hey, I'm Mike.
It's because the mic will be wobbling. It'll be the mic causing the noise. Anyway. What else have you been playing, I guess? What were we talking about? That was actually trying to talk about COD Blops 2, and somehow we looped back to Halo 4 again.
Yeah, we did.
It was just big franchises,
fatigue,
big releases that generally fatigued waste. But Rob's not fatigued by the big new releases.
Not this time, no. I don't think I can be fatigued by Halo, personally. There's something about that works for me.
Okay.
Whereas COD, can see that a little more. I don't know, but I can see why other people may be Halo fatigued.
I wasn't sure I'd be interested in Reach, and then when it came out, I was like, "Fuck, this is awesome!
This is really good." Yeah,
Yeah.
And I sort of think that every time there's a Halo game, it's like I'd only just finished playing Reach in Legendary when Halo 4 came out.
Yeah,
I went back to it because I was excited about Halo 4, and it's like I better play some Halo. I didn't finish this on Legendary. I better do this. And Halo 4 comes out, and I'm still having a good time playing it. It's maybe there's something about Halo that COD doesn't have. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
well, there's room for both, and many more. I hope.
And what else?
So what, do one of you guys want to go for a brief spell next? Because I've still got more to cover, but I need to get a drink. My fruit is dying.
It's not that going to be. We don't have to cover that much time.
Okay.
Just go. What have you been playing
Cool.
then? Can you fit in all your shit in like 1 minute?
Yeah, in 1 minute probably. I play a little bit more Mark of the Ninja.
Yeah.
That's still good. I've given up on the perfectionist run.
Right.
First run. Like, not killing them it takes ages. You just have to wait in every room for them to be in the right positions, and then you just fuck up constantly. It's like, I'll just murder them this time round. Next time I'll try and... it's just you get a massive bonus at the end of the level for not killing anyone, and it's like... It's really hard to...
Yeah.
So it's really tempting just to...
It's like audio surf. It's like the bonus for actually completing it without fucking up is so much higher than everything
else. Yeah, so it's like...
the only one that matters.
So when you see that screen at the end, it's like, oh, god damn, look how many people I murdered. But
that's only in ninja mode, isn't it? Where,
well,
mono ninja.
Yeah, but if you fuck up, if you fill your rack in, like, expert mode or whatever, it just fucks your score because you don't catch any of the blocks while you're respawning.
You've got such a downtime.
So that's basically the equivalent.
You can't get the butter or whatever the red one is.
Yeah.
Seeing red, isn't it?
So I've been totally specking for stealth, obviously getting all the upgrades. There are some upgrades for fighting, and I'm a bit worried that I'm going to be... I really hope the game never forces me to like fight at any point, because I'm going to be fucked.
Sure it won't.
It doesn't.
Right, okay.
From what I've heard, it doesn't.
That's cool. So it's good, but I mean... like, I can't play it for long periods, really, because it's a lot of patience to like get through areas and stuff. But it's cool. It's very good. So check it out, I guess, if you like stealth. I like stealth more than the average. So
I don't know. I've never been a stealth fan, but this game has a certain appeal.
I think you'd like it more than any other stealth game I can think of.
Then again, I might just fight my way through it, knowing what I'm like.
Well,
just be like, well, the fighting seems to work just as well.
I don't know if that'd be much fun, actually. I don't know. I'd have to try that. But I always stealth it. But I don't think it's really an option. It's like a last resort, really. But I try to like not set off and not get spotted, basically.
I've still put it on my wish list, so,
Cool. So there's that. That'll definitely be in the sale, so that'll be mega cheapo, like £5 or something.
Well, it's not been out long.
Yeah, but it's not a full price game or anything.
Maybe not.
So,
but, and Shank have had a couple of, the Shank series had some good sales. So,
and what else did I play? A little bit more surface tension on Black Mesa, just to remind myself of that game. It's pretty fucking hard on normal mode towards the end of Black Mesa, as in before Zen, I suppose, that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But I'm up to the last level. What's it? Lambda Complex or whatever. But fighting the soldiers is pretty hardcore in places.
Turning on the fucking generator for the teleporter is the worst bit, right at the end before Zen.
Did
There's
you do that
room where you just have to stand around in there for ages, and there are tons of the fucking flying brain things.
Yeah, but I don't know if those... I don't know if... I want to see that in Black Mesa, because I don't think they made a model for those things. Because I suppose that's the first time you see them, isn't
yeah, because that's like when the Zens...
Yeah.
Just before you go there.
The controller bastards. So I'd like to see what that sequence looks like once I get to the end. I presume the game ends when you jump into the teleport.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That would make sense, but I'll have to see. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's annoying because it's like corridor shooters, like Blobs or Halo, even though Halo has vehicle sections, still kind of corridor shooters. It's like nobody's quite managed to like make me feel like it's less of a corridor than like Half-Life back in like 1998. It's
even
like
though those are literally
corridors. I know, they're
corridors.
literally corridors, but that made sense because it's like a complex of corridors. It actually kind of makes sense. Or Doom, I suppose. It's like... Well, oh no, Doom doesn't really make sense because like Mars and it's full of corridors.
Or hell.
Or hell, yeah, it's full of corridors. But yeah, I don't know. It's like for some reason once you get sucked into Half-Life, and of course now the graphics are like it's basically the same game but with like decent graphics.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, it has a slightly different feel.
Quality graphics, isn't it? Really, they're not.
Well,
it's not past that really, but
it's a bit better than Half-Life 2 graphics. It's more like Half-Life 2 Episode 2 kind of because it's got all that like environmental, like physics, when stuff, the animation system, like when the bridge collapses in Half-Life 2 Episode 2. They've used a bunch of that tech. That. Well, it's right at the start, isn't it? The railway bridge collapses. It's like
I can't remember.
Anyway. So it's not bad. Anyway,
is that really animation? Because they just sort of like don't they just blow it up and let Source handle it?
Well, that's the thing. It's like a combination of it's their soft body physics of like bending metal.
Oh, jiggle bones stuff.
Yeah,
but they used jiggle bones for that. Oh, I suppose that was fairly a recent.
Relatively recent.
An after edition.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Anyway,
because they added that to TF, didn't they, at one point?
Yeah,
jiggle bones.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, probably talk about that a bit in Game of the Year, maybe slightly. Right.
I don't know. Can that count? Can we?
I don't mean for Game of the Year, but
I'm about to say, can you ever really? Well, maybe we need a category for best HD remake.
Oh right, well that might be contested. Anyway, yeah.
Or best re-release.
Do you want to continue, Rob, or shall I move on to...
I got some things.
Okay.
Let's talk Burnout Crash. Because it's pretty awesome.
Dr. Beep.
I should have picked that up sooner. I love it. I think it's really good. It's got that... I remember when it first came out, people were sort of saying that it is kind of a weird pinball-esque feel to it.
Yeah.
A perfect view there, Rob.
And yeah, you know what? It kind of does. It has that same... It's kind of good in a way that it has some arbitrary limits to how long a game can last. So, you've got to... I suppose because you could just end up with a playfield that has nothing left on it because you've killed all the buildings and stuff. So they've come up with some arbitrary limits like, there's only so much traffic or
right.
There's only so much time you've got. And those game types have slightly different mechanics that you need to be aware of, like or prepare for the end, I suppose, of them. I mean, one of them you just explode and just hope that there's an explosion chain big enough.
Right.
And the Inferno one is kind of a bit different in that you have to keep fires going, which means it's kind of, I suppose, actually those two kind of play out a similar way. You need to have enough of a pile of cars that you can cause a big enough system of events, so you can just keep. The Inferno one's kind of cool because if you can keep stuff alight, you can keep exploding and keep going around and picking up like the gold cars or the sports cars that you didn't manage to destroy during the actual level. Or I don't know. It's just the insanity of it. All the musical cameos. I suppose, would you call them cameos or little inclusions like Dr. Beats, obviously. Dr. Beat. It's Dr. Beat, not Dr. Beats. And the bulldozer which comes onto the screen going, "Push it real good."
Where does that music come from for Dr. Beat? Did they?
It's actually a
That's
song.
what I thought.
Like the 80s.
That's what I was wondering.
The Beat, which was remixed by Milo, like in early 2000s, I think. Not that early 2000. I don't know. I can never remember when songs come out. Fuck it. I'm going to go with 2004. There you go, random game. I just love it, the randomness of it, like the pizza trucks and some of the things the announcer says every now and then, and great. Like my current favourite, and it's not to do with the roulette wheel, is when the ice cream truck comes on screen, and like one of the things the announcer says is just he puts on this really stupid voice and just goes, "There's an ice cream truck, ice cream truck."
Right,
it's just so random in the middle of the game.
Okay,
ice cream truck. It's pretty cool. I haven't yet encountered the lobster monster that was on the
lobster monster.
Was it? What you got? It's not the EULA, is it? Like not the license agreement, but there's some rating thing for it, isn't there?
Yes,
they said they had lobster monsters in it. I want to see the lobster, but I think that's in the last level.
Yeah.
Judging that by the name that the last level is called Blue Claw.
Right. Yeah.
Lobster monster. It's pretty cool. And it was 400 points during the Connect sale.
Which is why you eventually managed to buy it.
Yeah. So it's a bargain. So I got it. Yeah. Monsters. What else have I been playing? Played some more Williams Hall of Fame pinball. Got another couple of wizard goals down. Just 2 to go. Just 2. And then I'll have my first 1,000-point completion. Mm. Yeah.
Just in time for that score to get raised. Or not, as we theorised.
Yeah. Played quite a bit more Dirt 3. Woo. Yeah, it still plays great. I still stand by what we said before. I don't think it's as good as 2 in terms of event variety. It's like, even though in a weird way it's actually got more events, I guess. But I kind of miss some of the like buggy racing. Like, I wouldn't have I would have thought that, but the buggy racing was kind of cool. And I don't know, there's more. As it feels like there's less environments, and like when you're doing the rally stages, it's basically the same track, forwards, backwards, and then forwards again in a different weather condition. That's how the rally events work. It's like the same bit of the same track that you just drove. It's like there's used to be only one rally stage per area,
right?
And you just drive a different bit of it,
right?
It's like, or a slightly different area of it. So you'll go, I just did this corner on the second run. You're like, no, this isn't proper rally. Still not proper rally.
No.
Are they ever going to go back to proper rally?
No, probably not.
Someone should do. But not proper rally. They need to do...
Not Richard Burns rally.
Not simulation
That was awesome.
I don't know.
It's fucking nightmare.
Would be fine.
Well, as long as they did it like in a Forza way, where you can turn things on or off to make it more or less simulatory.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, that would probably be the ideal way to do it. I think didn't WRC have another game relatively recently?
No idea.
I think they had some kind of license or something, because once Codemasters moved away from it, they were like, we need to find someone else to take this license up and make us our WRC game.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't too bad. I seem to remember. Don't know. I'll investigate. Played a bit more of that. Got a couple of Chivos, which adds to my paltry score on that thing. Played a bit of Flat Out, mainly for the video.
Yeah.
Did some of that. Played a tiny bit more Sonic CD. Only a tiny bit, though. I even played a tiny bit more Magic 2012.
Classic.
Which...
I should get that.
Yeah, it's alright. They have Magic 2013 now, so you probably want to get that.
Oh, that's the one I mean, I suppose. Yeah. Don't know which one I have, but I might just get if it's in the Steam sale.
It's alright. I still have some beef with how some of the ordering of stuff works.
Well, they've added stuff, haven't they? So you can, or they've made it so you can.
Well, it's like how
individually tap lands and shit now.
Yeah, it's like how it handles phases and things sometimes, where it's just a pain. Like you'll want to do something, and you want to do it at this moment, which by the rules is allowed, but sometimes the game and its stupid timer thing, or it seems to make assumptions sometimes where it's like, well, you don't want to do anything here, and it's like, no, I really do. Right. Or you'll miss the time spot, not just the time spot where you have to stop the clock and then tell it what to do, but you'll stop it in perhaps the wrong time phase based on what the game thinks is going to happen, or I don't know. There's some weird complexities there. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain in the ass to get it to do what you want.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, but I know I can do this. I've just like as a human, slightly perhaps got the ordering a bit wrong, or I don't know. It makes some simple actions kind of tricky in places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I played a few arch enemy rounds on that.
It was so dumb, that mode.
It would be better, I think, if your AI teammates weren't quite so stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
You're sort of sitting there watching them play their cards, and then they make a move, and it's like, no, don't do that. Like, it would be nice if you could coordinate with them somehow.
Yeah.
Like saying, actually, you know what, guys, can we launch an attack now? Or purposefully say, for the love of God, don't attack. This is a really bad time. That kind of stuff. If you just had a little bit of control of that, it would be much better. And maybe they have in the next one, I don't know. Or maybe they've just come up with another crazy game type. And some of the things that you get on that the arch enemy can get on those scheme cards are friggin' ridiculous sometimes. It's like, hey, would you like a 4/4 dragon with flying and haste this turn? It's like, here you go, just have one. If they get that on like the first turn,
Yeah.
that can be a real bugger because it's just like someone's going to get owned before you can really defend that well.
Mm.
And other ones where it's just like, hey, do you want to destroy every card on the playground or playfield, whatever? It's like, yeah, you can do that if you want. So he does it, and it's like, fuck. I know it's supposed to be like balanced in his favour, but sometimes it's just a little ridiculous. Blech. And, the constant fantasy noises get a bit on your tits after a while.
Yeah.
Even the wind sound is kind of like steeped in reverb. It goes, oh, well,
magic.
What else have we been playing? Zach and I played a bit of TF.
Guild Wars.
Played a bit of Guild Wars.
We haven't got the Christmas shit yet.
No, we haven't played the Christmas stuff. Oh, we might have exhausted my limits.
Okay.
So I played some more Jetpack Joyride.
That doesn't count.
So to move over for Zachary Regis.
And you don't know Jack iOS. We played that yesterday.
Yeah. You did. Sort of. Once.
Oh, and trying.
Okay.
Quite a lot more trying.
I guess.
And I suppose the only real point I wanted to make on that is that game seems to play most of its hand real early and then doesn't really change for the rest of the game.
No.
Which is a bit of a shame. Looks real good in 3D though. I've got like 2 levels left of that and then I'm done.
Yeah.
So perhaps we should tackle co-op or Train 2 co-op.
Yep. Like we keep saying we should at some point.
Yeah. Over!
Zachary Regis, what you been playing?
I've been playing a whole ton of stuff because I started making pointless streaming videos of like not really with audiences most of the time, apart from a couple of times, but it's just like I'm just going to play any old random game out of my library, just start recording and play maybe every game eventually and make a recording of it, because why not? Because I actually managed to get streaming to work reasonably well now with a different program and some different settings. My upstream on my internet is still pretty shitty though, so it's still not that great. So yeah, I played all kinds of stupid shit, but not so many that I need to talk about in that pile. I did go back to Civ 5 on demand of someone, of Kippers. He wanted to see me play Civ 5 for some reason, because that's the most interesting thing to watch on the internet, clearly. But I went back to that and then realised I couldn't remember how any of it worked, and then set it on a low difficulty setting, and then once I started to remember how everything works, it was like, oh shit, this is well easy. I'd forgotten that I was like, the actual difficulty scale in Civ 5 was a lot more reasonable rather than like the first 2 settings being easy and all the rest of them being impossible like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, played quite a fair bit of that. And
but those difficulty levels sort of cheat, don't they?
well,
The old Civ games where it's like you're at a massive disadvantage.
it's not really cheating, it's more like just like it doesn't cheat during the game so much as it's just a starting condition that screws you over.
Yeah, I see.
Or like not exactly a starting condition, more just like an overall disadvantage rather than making the enemies necessarily better.
Oh, I see. Instead of the AI being clever, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it does very much for the AI, but it's always like...
But yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I'd want it like a harder difficulty level to make the AI smart and not to fuck me over.
The AI was always terrible because it couldn't because they made the whole idea of not having stacked units on a hex grid and everything, and the AI wasn't designed to handle it. The AI couldn't work out the idea of, like, you have your melee troops at the front and then you have your range troops behind them, then they shoot over. Like, if only they could have programmed for that. But that's probably really difficult to do, I imagine, because you have to think about the actual landscape and, like, how it choke points so you can have your frontline forces actually holding a line or whatever. That's something that is probably quite difficult to do for AI.
Might not have been that... Well, yeah, that stuff may have been tough, but, the melee to ranged thing might have been somewhat obvious.
You don't necessarily it has to infer a lot of things in that case. Like because obviously it might not, unless you want the AI to cheat a lot, they presumably can't see your units, so they don't know what direction they'll be coming from, so they have to make assumptions about, your borders are over here, so they're probably coming from that direction, so I'm going to align my forces.
Unless they're making an attack on a city.
Well, yeah, especially in the city. The cities is the one case where it would be relatively easy to work that out, because it's like, you only have one option, because it's like, the city square is in the middle, the first ring of squares around that is where you put the melee units, and the second ring of squares is where you put the range units, because the range units only ever have 2 range, apart from in some pretty rare cases.
I suppose they get around that in, like, the Total War games, by when you're going into a battle, it being, like, on a set bit of land, and everyone's already pre-arranged, and
that's a different game.
Yeah,
that's a real-time.
I was just trying to think. It's like I was just trying to say, like, that kind of strategy can be done by AI. It's
to some extent. And then what else? I played all those streaming stuff, but I didn't really play any of them that I particularly need to talk about. You can go watch the videos online. On my stupid Twitch channel, apparently.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've started using now.
And, we should make proper YouTubes of those as well at some point.
Because Rob demands YouTube for some reason.
YouTube is a slightly better source for videos in general.
Fair enough.
Maybe. I'll just bring you a huge pile of files and then you can forget to upload them again.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't screw up my bandwidth, screw up your bandwidth. And you'll have better internet eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I suppose that's the other fucking, random that we didn't talk about. It's like, I was supposed to get my fibre this Thursday. My fucking BT have delayed it till, January 7th. Motherfuckers. I heard at one point that BT have a policy of, you can't let your customers down 3 times or something with regard to, appointments. And it's like, that's a pretty shit, quality rating. It's like, you shouldn't let them down ever. Fuck you, BT. You suck.
So now I'm trying to remember what I've played that I do need to talk about. There's the new version of Kerbal Space Program. We made a video of that, which was a big hassle, but we don't need to talk about video editing, really, on this podcast.
Oh my god, that was so much trouble.
Not as much trouble as when we tried to make a video of Minecraft, though, because that actually broke.
Yeah, we seem to have lost that.
So, don't expect to see that soon. New version of Kerbal Space Program is pretty awesome. It's got all kinds of awesome things in it, like docking and more easy navigation. Yeah,
the navigation tools look pretty cool, I have to say.
Well, you hadn't really seen what they even looked like before.
Well, they didn't have them before.
Well, no, but I mean, you hadn't even really seen how you navigate between in space before that, because we'd only ever gone into orbit.
I guess. We never really attempted a moon run.
No. So yeah. And I was making all kinds of plans. I started thinking about it again last night, because when I played it last night, I just put another probe on the other moon, the smaller one. Which is actually really weird, because that moon is so tiny and its gravity is so incredibly low. Even when you're in orbit, you're only travelling at 60 meters a second. Because it's so incredibly tiny. So it makes it really easy to adjust your orbit, because you only have to burn for half a second and you're like, whoop! You go miles. And then landing is obviously really easy because the gravity's so low. So you're just casual. But yeah, I landed another probe on there, and then I was thinking about the potential of doing ridiculous things, maybe trying to... I was like, maybe when I go to the next planet, the Mars equivalent planet, maybe I won't just make a probe, maybe I make a thing that's like a lander with a rover on it, and then detach the rover and then drive away. Because that'd be cool, but more difficult. And I was also thinking about how, because of the fuel, how it took me ages to even get a probe back to the moon again, because when I'd not played for a while, because I'd forgotten how to even get into space with enough fuel, I was like, now I can do it in an easier way by building a space station and putting a load of fuel on the space station, and then it doesn't matter how much fuel I have when I get out there, because I can just resupply it and go. That'd be awesome. Make everything take about 3 hours longer, but it would totally be awesome. Because docking is a hella difficult maneuver. So yeah, that's new Kerbals.
New Kerbals.
New Kerbals.
Kerbals.
What the fuck else did I play? I really can't remember. It's kind of weird. There's Christmas stuff happening in Eve. Not that I've been playing that, really. It's just like, log in and get free stuff.
Awesome.
It's always the best.
Oh, wait. I just thought of something that me and you have played that's new. Planetside.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about Planetside before.
No, Planetside 2.
We might have done slightly, but not really.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? What's the deal with Planetside 2?
Big, futuristic, MMO-style Battlefield.
Yeah, kinda.
Except it's not as fun as Battlefield.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's the unlocking that's not fun.
Well,
Because
yeah.
that is done.
Well, yeah, this is why I think, like, okay, let's talk positive first. It's actually a fairly competently made shooter. You know, it has the balance and dynamic of it are quite different from most things out there. It's, you know, kind of snipers in places have a bit of a a bit of an advantage, I think, because of the open nature of a lot of the land.
Yeah, but not that a lot. Well, the starting sniper rifles, especially, aren't that effective.
Well, that's all I've got.
Yeah,
and I seem to be doing all right with it.
They're okay, but it's like there's almost no point even trying to aim for the head of the starting sniper. You just have to aim to get 3 really quick shots on.
Yeah, true. that works just as well. And that's why I'm fine with that because I'm a shit shot. So.
Yeah. But you do still have to lead and shit, though, obviously.
A little bit.
Because the ranges can be quite big as well. Even just from the top of some of the higher base buildings can be quite a long distance.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's a very different dynamic to how it plays, partly because of the sort of endless nature of it, so you can be fighting for ages for a single position on the map. And it seems a lot more generous with, you know, you can just have a vehicle whenever you want now, kind of thing.
Well, to some extent.
To some extent. There's like a certain amount of points you get per time based on the amount of
land
your team possesses. So if you're doing well, you can do better, which
is a classic balancing mistake, really.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult because you've got to kind of reward people for doing well, and at the same time, it's a tricky thing. I'm still not sure really how you really balance.
But that's why what happens in Planetside 2 is the obvious solution to the balance. Well, not a solution that they want, but a solution that the players automatically tend to, which is because there's 3 continents, basically each team just goes and fights by themselves on one continent, takes over the whole thing, and then it's like, well, I guess we're done here, let's move to one of the other continents, and then they just change, and then So really it's almost always like one team has most of their guys on one of the continents, and then there's virtually none of the other teams there, so they're just trundling through and taking everything.
Which can lead to one of the other problems with the game, and that sometimes it's just a walkover for one team or another.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're on the losing team, that's a real bad time. And sometimes even if you're on the winning time, that's quite a boring time.
Well, if there's too few enemies, then obviously it's just like...
Yeah, you're just walking into...
You just stand next to the capture point for 5 minutes.
And you're not really getting much in the way of XP.
Well, you get a lot of XP for capturing, you just don't get very much for defending, which is also the other problem. They don't really incentivise actually fighting. It's just like, if you know you're going to be overwhelmed, there's no point in staying there because you don't really get extra XP for continuing to hold back the enemies. Yeah. Unless in the rare case where they start capping it and then you fight back and actually recap it, then you get some more experience. If the bar goes down and back up. But that virtually never happens. Normally when the bar starts going down, you just know it's going to go all the way because you've been overwhelmed at that point.
Yeah. But by the time the team has actually managed to get to the point.
Yeah.
But the thing I think they get wrong, biggest of all, and this is a kind of a requirement for an MMO style game, or for pretty much any game or any multiplayer experience where you want people to spend a significant amount of time in them, is you need to have a reason for them to keep coming back. You need to have an incentive, and that normally takes the place of the leveling or the upgrade tree.
Yeah.
But because the game is free to play, that upgrade tree is so painfully slow. I mean, I've not been able... admittedly, I've played it as 2 separate characters a couple of times, and
well, not that long, though.
I guess we haven't really played it enough for me to get anything, but I've barely got... on either of those, I don't have enough cert points for an attachment for a gun.
I think you probably do.
Oh, no, it's like 100 points, isn't it?
No, it's like 30 for a scope.
Well, I'm a little bit under that on both characters, I think.
Maybe.
And you get a cert point based like every so many extra. So they come at a constant rate, really. But it's just so slow. And it's like, I want, and there are times where it's like, I could really use an anti-air weapon here, but there's like 1,000
Well, you
cert points.
you can spawn as a max and get the anti-air max gun. That's like the only other. That's the only free anti-air gun,
I guess.
But it's a flat gun, so it's not like missiles.
I don't know. I think it lacks the hook that provides.
Yeah, because you're not going to get any new guns for literally ever, and the best you can do is just customize the one gun you have.
And because of that, doing well isn't that satisfying. No. I don't think, because you don't feel you're personally gaining from it.
It's not, because it's like in Battlefield when you're killing people with a gun, you're unlocking attachments for that gun, and you're also getting experience, which has unlocked other stuff.
And you know what? That's always going to be a problem with the free-to-play model, I think. And it kind of works in the game's favour in some respects, in that, heck, free-to-play kind of guarantees you're going to get quite a population, at least at first. Yeah,
but until they realise that there's no reason to keep playing.
And for now, it's not a problem. But I wonder how it affects the longevity of games like that. And as Zach explained earlier, there seems to be a few, because like some of the weapons are quite good that you can buy, it seems.
Yeah.
That there's a sort of pay-to-win element to it.
Yeah.
That reviews have said that they're somewhat balanced, and to be honest, I kind of agree with them. You can do all right with the base kit.
Well, that's not necessarily speaking to the balance of the other guns. That's just saying that the base guns are actually okay. They haven't made it too unbalanced in the favour of the paid guns. Yeah, but some of the paid guns are certainly a lot more powerful.
But you know what I mean? They're attempting the TF2 model, I guess, where the guns are like side grades.
Well, the trouble is that there's a couple that you can tell are sort of more overpowered. I mean, there's the one I was talking about is the equivalent of the AC-130, which turns the gunship into a tank cannon and lets you hover miles away and just murder people in one shot. Yeah, that seems well overpowered.
That sounds a little much. Yeah.
And then I've definitely had cases where I've
it might be fine if the loadout cost for that was really expensive, so you could only use one every day.
Well, but because they can float so far away, they're much less likely to get shot down. I guess it kind of negates that risk.
Well, I suppose you kind of have to justify the cost of one of those, but
yeah, I don't know if it actually changes how much the spawn cost is.
Yeah. It probably should.
Yeah, it probably should. But then there's other sorts of guns are sometimes... I mean, the fact that all the shotguns are paid weapons, and those can be pretty lethal in some, inside bases, obviously.
Yeah, if you're on defense, that sounds like a great idea.
And there's definitely, sniper rifles that can one-shot you much easier than the shitty base... so they're a lot more powerful than the shitty regular sniper rifle.
It's kind of like the bolt actions from Battlefield. Then.
Yeah, I guess, but...
Slower firing rate, but...
Well, presumably. But then there's a lot of the machine gun, different assault rifles and stuff don't seem different enough to even matter. It's like, there's ones that are obviously better and different, and then there's this, mid-section where it's like, why would I even bother? It doesn't seem like there's any stat bonus that matters.
Is it sort of like the difference between, the light assaults gun and the heavy assaults gun?
Not really,
because there doesn't seem to be any difference between them.
Well, they are different. They're different classes. It's like the engineer's gun is a carbine, even though... And that is one of the other problems, is that all the guns just look the same. Yeah. You just see, this rail sticking out.
There's a slightly longer version of it.
Yeah. And there is actually... I think if I read it right because also it's not very well described in a lot of cases. It's just here's a name of a gun and what the fuck does that mean? But I'm pretty sure there's a type of gun where you can unlock the regular version or a burst fire version. It's why is that a different gun?
Yeah, shouldn't there be a toggle on the gun?
Yeah, exactly. It seems a bit of a rip-off. But yeah, none of those guns seem like they're actually really different enough to matter in most cases. So really, it's just if you want to buy a shotgun, that's maybe the one thing that is actually worthwhile.
COD does the burst to automatic thing with an attachment you can have. So you can, if you want to, you can trade off one of your attachments for the ability to switch.
Right, yeah.
And it's it seems like a good idea, actually, to be honest.
Well, sort of.
I mean, you're losing a perk, I suppose, or something
yeah,
cool.
It's what is the advantage of burst fire, really? In a COD environment, especially when everything's at super close range and you're just offloading bullets and hoping that they die.
Maybe, yeah. maybe, but there are some larger levels where range can make a difference. But
I think you might as well use one of the sniper rifles, or one of the rapid fire sniper rifles,
or a slower single shot assault gun.
Yeah, possibly.
In general, but
yeah. And the other thing that was weird that threw me off initially on Planetside 2 is for some reason grenades are one of the few things that actually you have to resupply.
You have to buy them.
Like, because the vehicles have a cost, and it's like, so the vehicles cost vehicle points, and the aircraft cost air points, and it's like, you have infantry points, and it's like, what the fuck are infantry points for? It turns out, grenades, you actually have to buy them, but they don't actually really cost enough that you're going to use grenades fast enough, because you can only carry one as well, on your soldiers.
And there seems to be, like, slots for other things that maybe get resupplied. Are there different types of nades, maybe?
Well, there are different types of nades, but they probably don't, I don't know how much more they will cost.
They probably don't per item.
Yeah. They cost cert to unlock, obviously. So.
And nades are a bit tricky to actually use anyway. They're not that powerful.
Well, I don't know, they are quite powerful, but it's a bit too easy, especially even in the base areas, there's quite a lot of space, so it's, it's not really easy to get them to go somewhere where they're going to kill someone.
Yeah, exactly, or that someone can't run away from.
And also, it's well easy to...
They don't have cooking as well, do
No,
they?
they don't have cooking, and also the throwing is like... when it just poots out of your... That can be well easy to accidentally throw it against walls and shit. And it's like damn, I've wasted my one grenade.
There's the number of times I've done that where it's like, I could just lob a nade in that window, and there's a guy just sticking out from it. And there's probably a few of his mates up there. Or just throw a nade through that window. Oh, fuck, it's bounced off the wall. Oh,
you don't have any, like, distance control. It just goes at a set speed.
It's pretty tricky to get them right.
Yeah. But then the only other thing that I know of that costs infantry points is the max suit. So
yeah, I've never actually bothered to use one.
I used one once when we were in this base and it was just there was all millions of enemy aircraft murdering us, and there was like virtually nothing else, just aircraft. And it was, for some reason, it was a fucking aircraft pad with like aircraft spawners, and it didn't have any anti-aircraft guns. Well, no, that's not strictly true. It had two, but of course those got instantly blown up because as soon as all the enemy aircraft turned up, it's like, right, then we'll get rid of them.
I've seen some great footage of like just how crazy the air battles of that game can get. Like, sky filling armadas of aircraft,
and then everyone crash into each other.
Yeah.
And also,
it can look pretty amazing, some of the stuff happening in that game. But again,
the game looks pretty good as well. We should have mentioned.
Yeah, it runs pretty shitty for me.
Well, naturally,
to be honest,
it is actually a bit of a system hog.
Yeah, it needs. It doesn't look as good as Battlefield, but it requires bigger specs to look good.
Yeah,
is the problem. It's not that efficient,
but it does look pretty good.
It can look pretty impressive. Yeah. And as I say, when the scale of these fights ramps up, it's not even Battlefield really competes.
Well, yeah, sort of. Although a lot of the time it's just like you don't get to see it as much because you're either just rolling in and everyone's already dead, or you're on the defensive and you're confined to like the spawn room almost.
Yeah, I guess. Or those stupid teleport techniques on the bases where you end up in this one building in the middle of the enemy complex with personnel shields.
Yeah, those are maybe the dumbest thing about the whole capturing of bases.
In a weird way, I kind of enjoy those bits more than anything else because it's just so dumb.
So dumb and cheap, though.
Yeah,
because it's like when you're assaulting a base, the main spawn room in the base always has protective shields on the doors, which they stop bullets and stop people from the enemy team from going in. But the people on the inside can shoot out.
Oh, great.
Which is just really dumb, because basically it always gets to the point, particularly in the larger bases, where you've come in, you've taken all the capture points, and you're just waiting for the bar to go up so it flips the allegiance so you've captured it. But during that whole time while you're waiting for the bar up, the enemy can still spawn in the spawn room. So you basically get the enemy spawning in the spawn room, and your entire team just has to sit there and camp the doors, but not directly in line of sight so they can shoot you.
Yeah.
You just sit there for like half an hour waiting, hoping that someone's going to retardedly step into view so you can kill them.
Which happens quite frequently.
Yeah.
Or, actually, in fairness, when I'm like one of those guys outside the shields just watching the building, it's like sometimes you just get frustrated after a while and go, I'm just going to have a quick look.
And then you die.
That was a stupid idea.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of a dumb part of that system. It's like they really should do something.
In fairness, dying can be a pain in that game as well, because quite often you can spawn, kind of like how Battlefield.
Well, it doesn't really tell you enough.
You can sometimes spawn quite a long way away from anything interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can squad spawn.
Yeah. But it doesn't really tell you enough about what's in the vicinity of the spawn either.
No,
it can be quite easy
drop
to
in and it's like, oh shit, there's like 5 dudes.
Well,
right
especially
here.
with the orbital drops, it doesn't tell you virtually anything.
No.
It's like, I'm going to spawn my squad leader. He's in this base somewhere. I'm coming in from orbit. I don't know where the actual enemies are that are attacking this base, what direction they've come from. I just have to guess by looking at the map and seeing where the enemies were.
Actually, this is a very valid complaint about the game, actually, is the way it handles HUD. It's not great.
Well,
It's like things
yeah.
it's not consistent is my problem with it. Like things in your view have like friendly or foe.
Oh yeah, that is the big problem.
Which is always blue and red. Blue is always friendly, foe is always red from the main hub. But the map shows it as faction
team colours,
of which
one of them is red.
One of them is blue, one of them is red, and then you've got the purple one, which is like, actually you can tell who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
But it's just really confusing if you're one of those sides. I mean, I think
or even if you're not one of those sides.
Well, some games have done that in the past. Like I think didn't Monday Night Combat have this as a slight problem as well, where it highlighted enemies on the other team with a red marker above their head, but if you're on
the red team,
if you're on the red team, then it puts a red marker over members of the blue team, and you go, "Oh, he's a friendly." No. Oh, a few games have made that mistake
because they always make the teams red and blue. Let's have yellow and green team next time. Apart from you can't do that because that's hell for colourblind people.
Yeah, that's why they do red and blue.
Well, even red and blue isn't that great for some colourblind people.
Because red-green is the biggest issue.
Well, yeah. Let's just have black and white. No, that doesn't work either, because then you can't see one of the teams in the dark.
Yeah, true. Like blue and red works, I think, from that perspective, but just get the HUD the right way round. Don't bother trying to mark friend and foe. Just mark he belongs to this team. It's up to you to work it out.
Well, especially in a freeway fight, it's like that.
We've got too used to red meaning bad all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you actually start playing properly, it just gets confusing.
Well, maybe just maybe just avoid having red as the other colour then.
I don't know.
Still have blue.
Sometimes I've seen there've been games in the past. I can't honestly think of a good example right now because they are quite few and far between, where they actually start to colour the whole HUD. No, UT did this.
TF2 does it.
Yeah, TF2. Yeah, TF2 does it. UT used to do it, where it coloured your HUD the colour of the team you're on.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then it becomes super obvious who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. I still get it wrong every now and then because sometimes you get team switched and forget. But
or in TF2's case, sometimes it glitches out and bits of the HUD are different colours.
Yeah,
and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
That happens. I tend to lose the progress indicators on TF2's HUD quite a lot. And it's like, I can't tell what the shit's going on, so I'm just going to try killing dudes.
Usually a good way of going about things.
Yeah. Just follow everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of it's hard to say too much bad about it, really, because it is actually not a bad game.
Yeah,
I think
for free, especially.
But I think it might have been better, and I say this about a lot of free-to-play games, if they'd have just had an upfront cost.
But you can subscribe and get more cert points or whatever, but it doesn't really work when they also have this free-to-play on it.
Yeah.
If that hadn't have existed, it would have worked.
I don't know. It might be the best example of a free-to-play FPS yet, with the possible exception of TF2, now that it's gone sort of free-to-play.
Yeah.
It's, well, I don't know. We haven't played Tribes, so that's free-to-play. And it's supposed to be
That's a very different game, though.
Yeah. Maybe it might... actually sounds like it might actually be the best example of free-to-plays. I'm struggling.
They do need to...
Well, I don't know, we haven't played Gotham City Imposters either, which is supposed to be pretty good.
TF2's free to play. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's sort of free to play, but you kind of have to buy something to get the most out of it.
We just have to...
There's restrictions until you buy one item.
Well, right. Yeah, but not like one item could be like 29p.
Yeah. As soon as you make that, and it's like the Steam framework in general, isn't it? Like, it doesn't let you into the Steam Friends network until you've bought something.
Right.
Yeah.
With actual money, and free stuff doesn't count for that. As soon as you've bought something, it unlocks your Steam account fully. The same applies to TF2, and it's actually a pretty good system because it kind of keeps out... it's supposed to keep out spammers.
But yeah.
Or people just idling, I guess, for items.
We just have to hope that they maybe actually do some more stuff for Planetside 2. They apparently have big plans. Apparently.
Yeah, maybe
they want to, like... Well, one of the early things that they've been saying is like, well, obviously more continents. If they have more continents, that will somewhat reduce the one team per continent effect.
Maybe, but then I hope they increase the pop per server problem there, because then maybe you'll just end up with fewer people on each continent.
Well, maybe.
It's no, maybe that won't work so great. I also think,
but they're like,
you know what the worst bit about this is like, and I tried to explain this to Dan the other night, in that I don't know what the fuck SOE are thinking from a strategy point of view, because they have two fairly similar free-to-play MMO games in this context, really.
Yeah.
It's like there's Planetside 2 and there's Dust 514 that are, in essence, pretty goddamn similar.
But not one's on PS3 and one's on PC.
Yeah, I know, but
that's why they wouldn't have Dust on PC.
But the Dust,
that was more CCP's problem.
But the Dust thing is fucked in general, because that should be a PC game.
Yeah,
it's like if they'd have made the Dust stuff, we'll just make Planetside 2, but brand it Eve style. And perhaps these planets... there might have been a problem with scale, I guess, in the EVE universe, because it would be hard to have a persistent war across fucking millions of planets.
Oh, yeah. But it's not like it's any bigger than a facility in Dust anyway, though.
No, but it's like... It's weird that Sony have both.
Yeah. It is kind of.
It doesn't... And, we're both kind of meh about how Dust actually works.
Well, it's still, they still need to do quite a lot of work on that as well.
Well, they still are. I keep getting emails about it every now and then saying, we've just done this and we've just done this. And it's like, I really don't care. It's like it just seemed like the mechanics of the shooter weren't great.
No. It's where Planetside succeeds, I guess.
Yeah.
And mechanically it works.
Mechanically it's fine, yeah.
Although there are some other things where
I don't know. I think some vehicles, weirdly, I have that same problem with vehicles in that I do with most games, where it's like when I appear to be driving a vehicle, it appears weak as shit. When I'm fighting a vehicle, it's as strong as anything.
Well, yeah, that is a classic. Although that could theoretically be because of certs, of course, because you can't see those.
Oh, can you upgrade strength and things?
You can definitely upgrade armor plates. Like you can get anti-mine armor for the bottom and then better armor on the top or whatever.
I guess it could be then. Yeah.
They could have spent some cert points, and you can't really tell. It's not like Battlefield where you can theoretically see that, although sometimes you're not really going to spend time looking at a tank and being like, what upgrades does this guy have?
No, you'll be shooting it from 2 kilometres away.
Yeah, preferably. But there are some things that, I think the weirdest thing that I saw in Planetside 2, where it's like, why did they change that, or why did they keep that from the old Planetside, is you used to be able to use the transport planes, the big ones.
Yeah.
And, you could drop people in. But for some reason, they decided not to let you do it was drop pods, but it might as well have just been a parachute, really. They decided not to let you do that any longer.
What, from the plane?
From the plane. You just jump out and die. Well, I suppose theoretically, if you're playing light assault, you can spec the jetpack to be, instead of a jetpack, it's more just a descent pack.
Oh, I see.
So you don't go up as much, but it slows your descent better.
But you could just, pepper your jetpack usage.
Well, yeah, you could try and do it that way, in theory. But I don't know why they took that out. But then someone, I'm sure this must have happened nearly instantly as soon as people got on this and were like, why can't we do this? The general population of the internet came up with the incredibly dumb solution of when you're in a vehicle, you have controls of who can get in, so you can be lock it to your squad or whatever. But if you're the pilot of one of these planes, if you fly really low and then keep on, it's really dodgy because you have to be operating a menu and also not crash. But if you can fly low enough and open this menu and set it to lock everyone out of the vehicle, they just pop out. It just kicks them out of the vehicle. So if you're low enough, the entire squad just goes ding and appears.
Awesome.
Oh wait, so before the pilot had the choice to throw the pods out?
No, it was just when you jumped out of the plane, it put you in a pod.
Oh, okay.
So you could just drop in. But now it can't do that. But now the pilots have come up with this stupid way of just everyone out, blop.
Maybe they try to avoid that because it can be one of the more exploitable tactics. Battlefield has always been a bit weird on that front.
Well, it was the old problem of 2142 of just people getting on roofs using the drop pods.
Yeah.
And I mean, in Planetside 2, that's theoretically less of a problem because anyone can do it.
It's part of the game.
Yeah. But getting a lot of people out of a plane without... Well, I mean, it is still, like, a risk because the plane has to fly, like, super low directly over the target. But it doesn't have to stop, and that's maybe, like... Because landing those things, and also finding space to land them, I guess, is the other problem. With the kicking everyone out plan, you can just fly over wherever, and they will just end up somewhere down there.
Yeah. Well, they're called Colossuses or something. Galaxies, that's it. I suppose that makes Dan's plan of being a dropship guy a bit trickier.
And so the classic, it's like, what's the incentive, really? I mean, especially with especially because they got rid of the whole drop pod thing and it makes it more difficult to get people in and out. I don't see where the bonus is, because on the flip side, if you're using the land transport vehicle that you can upgrade to be a spawn station, you just get experience whenever anyone spawns off it. So that's constant experience if you put it in a reasonably decent place.
Okay, that's a real big incentive to get it right.
Yeah. Whereas with the Galaxy, I don't know if you get any real bonuses for that. It's just like you just fly them there and then they get out and then they do a thing.
Well, perhaps you would have got experience, like, say, or you've dropped them into a hot zone.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how it will even detect that, really.
Well, it has hot zone.
Well, it has, but I'm not sure whether it would... I'm not sure whether they would have done that. That seems like it would be too easy to exploit as well.
Maybe.
Spawning is a bit more legitimate, whereas, like...
Oh, I guess
you
maybe
just jump in and out or something.
But perhaps
hopefully they thought of that.
Yeah, but perhaps they could do something like, you have to have carried this guy so far.
Maybe.
And then it's like, then it counts as a proper drop, as opposed to you've literally just lifted this guy from like 2 meters away, flown really high, and then he's jumped out. Maybe
it's just a convenience thing. Maybe they just decided, like, because the planes are more convenient than driving a vehicle around, you don't need so much incentive.
More people just fly the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to go somewhere quickly, you just spawn one of the shitty fighter planes and just fly there.
Or the little buggies, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but then you still have to cope with the landscape. Yeah. That's where the advantage of planes is. You can just go straight there.
Those buggies are so cheap, though. If you actually need to get somewhere, but you can, and you're near a vehicle spawner, it's just like, I'll just make a buggy.
Yeah,
I'll get those points back in no time.
Yeah, every time. And they also talked about they want to do like. Not only do they want to have more continents, they want to have ship battles. They want to actually have sea in between the continents and actually have it be able to sail from one to the other or something.
Awesome. Oh, that's ambitious.
Doesn't sound like that's going to be very fun.
No, maybe not.
I mean, they can put sea bases, I guess.
Well, there have been games that have done sea fights well in the past. Like, I think it was just one of the Pacific games, like relatively early in the Xbox life cycle, was pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible to do ship battles.
No, you could do naval combat.
Yeah, and make it interesting. But it would probably be crap if you were actually one of the guys being transported.
Well, they'll just have to have it so that...
And what would the point be?
Well, yeah, that would be the other question, is like... Are you expecting, like, oil rig type things? That would make sense.
I guess, yeah.
Like some bases in the sea to make it actually worth fighting rather than just going between the two continents. Because otherwise you might as well just teleport.
No, actually, that does solve it. Like, you have ships and air fights. But I wonder if the problem with that is I guess then that involves putting down points to get ships or being a member of the ship, and I don't know, maybe there's a resource quality to that.
They could just introduce like ship resources, like they've already got air and vehicle resources.
I mean, they probably will, but it's like there's a bit of a coordination issue there in that you might probably need people to man the ship.
I'm sure there'll be like 1 or 3 man boats like there are with planes. Some kind of smaller gunboat thing.
Yeah, maybe. I reckon if they get it right, that could be pretty cool.
Could be, but
I think it might be a challenge to make.
The real problem with it is just like if they introduce like the idea of having the ship stuff in between the continents, it still doesn't really give it any reason. There's no reason to like control that area apart from for the resources. It's not like you can't just teleport between the continents. It's not like you're controlling the flow of reinforcements between the two continents or something.
No. Or maybe there are some servers that they'll set up where it does have to work like that.
Maybe.
That would be kind of interesting. They might experiment with one, say, where it's like, this is a proper no teleporty type fight.
Yeah,
but then that kind of removes the.
But
then drop pods make no sense.
Well, yeah, and that also fucks up like the convenience of it. You don't want to be like, oh, I want to go to this other continent, but I'm going to have to sail for half an hour.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And it depends what they're going for, like what they want to achieve with this.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Well, basically, they just need to. Everyone wants them to lower the prices of the guns in the shop, but they're not going to because it's Sony.
Yeah, and it's a free-to-play model, so you know.
Yeah, but they could still lower it quite. It's like people are saying, if they lowered it a bit, then I'd start buying stuff, so they'd make more money. Surely,
maybe they'd expect. Well, you can say that about anything.
But
it's like that's my opinion of Live Arcade. In fairness, but it's like, whenever it's on sale, I'll buy it.
Well, it works for Steam.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does just seem like those costs are so expensive.
It seems. Well, it's the fact that I don't feel like I can earn anything.
No,
it's like I like to. Even if you're going to like have a free to play model,
and the guns are expensive,
and buy things, I want some reassurance that. Well, actually, for me, I think this is a good way to describe it. I think for me, I want some reassurance that the things I would be buying would be worth it.
Yeah.
So, and I can't.
Well, you can trial them.
Oh, can you?
For like half an hour. Not sure that's actually enough time to really know anything.
Yeah, maybe, because you kind of need the fight that it's appropriate for.
Yeah. You'd have to pretty much start the trial while you're in situ rather than...
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't...
It's like,
you couldn't waste any time travelling anywhere if you've only got half an hour.
But you know what? There's something about the structure and the fact that you're not earning that and the fact that you can't earn it that has made me actually never look in the store.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, because I was just like, well, this shit's never going to happen for me. You know, kind of like, or I don't. I have a very.
You don't want to spend that much cash either.
Well, no, I'm a cheapskate gamer. I'm probably like the wrong market for a free to play game in a way because I'm not.
You're not ever going to spend cash.
Yeah. Unless I really, really like the game, and so far that hasn't happened on any game. But I think I'd want something to hook me in, so I felt like I would be gaining more enjoyment from actually plonking down money.
Yeah. Or,
a bit of me at some point thinks, I should probably just buy something in TF because of how fucking much I play it. Or have played it.
That's a different situation entirely.
But that game is so good and I've put so many hours into it and they have this store set up that I actually think they deserve it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, in TF, for us anyway, at this point, it's like... You're so unlikely to get the one thing that you don't have. Because now we've got the majority of stuff, apart from now they just keep adding more, and it's all random, so it's like, I've got another fucking player guy.
Well, that's the advantage of having such a big item list.
Well, yeah, but it's not really an advantage for us. No. Because we can't get the things that we want. No. So, the longer you pay, the more likely it is that you'll want to pay.
Well, I might just buy something like unlocked, to get like a strange weapon or something, or...
What, you might risk it on a crate.
Yeah, something like that, because that's a fairly cheap punt, isn't it, really? And
it's like £2.
Yeah. Maybe if it was 50p.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Save wrong.
£2 to open a crate.
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah. 50p sounds more like it, like an iOS kind of price range.
That was always the problem with the crates of TF. They were always that expensive, and it was too much.
And I still think, yeah...
And you ended up with 1 million crates.
And there's still a weird disparity between, I think, like, DLC and... Or just prices for console and PC stuff, as opposed to, like, mobile stuff, which seems to, like, has a wildly different price range.
Yeah. The problem in TF...
50p is a good pump price for me.
Yeah. The problem in TF was the gamble didn't seem like it was going to pay off enough. It was it was £2 for a key, but you could potentially get an item that was worth like 29p.
Yeah. I suppose some of the later crates are more appealing than the earlier ones, but...
Well, yeah. But then you might as well just trade the crates for metal and trade them to people who actually want to spend that cash.
Maybe. I can never be bothered to trade.
No.
Anyway, we need to wrap this up.
Do we?
Oh,
we've got like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Was that all you've been playing then?
I guess. I'm sure there was some other stuff, but it's all in those videos. Go into Twitch and go Twitch/HSZeg.
HSZeg for Happy Salad Zeg.
Yeah.
Or Zach.
Zeg.
Put Zeg.
ZEG.
Yeah. HSZEG.
Yep.
To get to your page.
Yep.
Indeed.
Huzug.
Goddamn, why won't you let me have 3-letter names, you bastards? It's not even like Zega's taken that often.
Yeah, who would go for that?
Germans.
Someone who couldn't say take off every zig.
Yeah, exactly.
Moves egg for great justice.
Moves egg, moves egg, moves egg.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us for another Saladcast.
Probably Game of the Year next time, isn't it?
Well,
Probably
yeah, there's
next
probably going to
time.
be another
This
delay,
rate.
I think, till we can get another cast
damn it.
timely
Indeed.
done.
So by that point, we will have your
Actually, I don't know.
annual
Christmas falls in a midweek, doesn't it, this year? So it's
third annual, fourth annual, third annual,
Third.
second,
the
third annual.
third season 3 finale. Well, not really the finale because we start in March. but-
Yeah.
The third annual Game of the Year, Salad Game of the Year cast thing coming at you.
Salad Awardcast game.
Indeed.
Yes.
Featuring dumb categories like best advert or
Worst
something.
audio.
Indeed.
I'm
Laziest
struggling with that
sequel.
one. Yeah. I'm struggling with worst audio.
We're
this
struggling
time.
with all of them. Because we haven't
Yeah, in
thought about it.
fairness. It's harder. Maybe that's a testament to games, it's harder to pigeonhole things this year.
Maybe.
Yes, so join us for that next time.
Why do they call it pigeonhole?
Because
Because-
it's a pigeonhole.
It's a hole for a pigeon.
Pigeons need holes?
When they're like carrier pigeons.
But why do we pigeonhole games? Like, we don't put a game in a
Well, it's a
pigeonhole.
postal thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's whenever you put something into a
Because when
category.
you're sorting the mail, you're putting it into a pigeonhole because that's what they're called, and it's like a labelled pigeonhole.
And then pigeons take them away.
Mail
So
holes.
bye.
They're called mail holes.
Mail holes.
There's an ice cream truck! Ice cream truck!